falling from the highest wire, and all the tales I choose to tell, and I fought my way back from hell. This is fate, kingdom come, watch me reign, watch them run, take a page, read my story, hear me now. This is my legacy. This is my legacy.
What's up, everybody? We are finally back here. The ASL has returned. It has been too long. We're here for the second season of the year in 2025. So happy to be here with you guys.
Oh, man, I am so pumped for this season. Like, the player list is out of control. It's so exciting to have some of these players back, like Larva, like Effort. The qualifiers were unreal, man. It's some of the best games I've ever seen. And it's such a great time right now for StarkRife. I got to tell you, that little video almost made me tear up at the beginning. That was just so epic. That was so awesome.
Yeah, it's always nice to come back to some ASL. I finally had a little bit more free time to start playing again, and I'm thinking, thank God ASL is just around the corner because I need help. This game is hard to keep up with. So it's gonna be an exciting season. I have to say the last couple of seasons have been incredible. With Flash not in the forefront of ASL, it's been a toss-up of who's going to take it here in some of these seasons. Obviously, Soulkey being so dominant for so long, but again, I think there's so many people that are right behind him.
Yeah, but he is still the guy to beat. 4 in a row is the all-time record. That surpasses what Flash was able to do. But they have made the maps a little bit harder for Soulkey. There's a couple maps in there that are going to be really difficult for him to win on, I think. So we'll see if that's going to change the outcome. And as far as Flash, he's been talking about it. My gut is he's going to be back next year in ASL, but we'll see as he recovers. As of right now, it's just about whether or not someone can stop Soulkey.
Yeah, just in regards to the Flash, not being here, it's always hard to tell if he's going to be back or not. He's also retired several times as if he was never going to come back, and then he returned. So it's kind of up in the air. A lot of this has been due to wrist pain, which obviously he can't play through a full season and destroy his wrists and be unable to play for years. So, we'll see if he's going to be back again. But for now, this appears to be Soulkey's tournament. It's everybody trying to come up here and usurp him. It's been an incredible run. I almost didn't believe it when we were saying it each season that, maybe Soulkey wins again. But here we are.
Yeah, but there are some very difficult maps and players for him to deal with. Taking a look at the map pool, you can see Dominator, Metropolis, Radion, Polestar are all back. And then we have a remake of Circuit Breakers in Knockout. We have Litmus, which is kind of like Neodark Origin and Butter smashed together into one map. And then we have, we're going to call it Roaring Currents. This is one of the most insane maps ever made. And when we finally play it, which probably won't be till late in the tournament, I will describe it for you guys, but it is probably going to be one of the most imbalanced maps along with Sparkle that we've ever seen.
We have, for the round of 16 seed, Soulkey, Best, Snow, and Light. Just an incredible lineup from the previous season. And I think the round of 24 is looking very exciting, very interesting. The round of 24 is, of course, very punishing. So, you really have to come in here very prepared for any possible matchup, even in a limited amount of games.
Looking at the round of 24 players, you're going to see a lot of common names, but a lot of surprises getting in. Saber won ACS. That's a big deal. You guys probably don't know who Saber is, but he has been very strong lately, top of the ladder. Larva is back for Zerg as well. True made it back in last season's ACS champion. For Protoss, it's a small amount of players, but the best of the best. And let me tell you, Paralyze is one of my dark horse picks to get into the next round here from the round of 24. He is incredibly strong. And then as far as Terran goes, we've got a million of them.
It's a ton of Terrans, man. And of course, we have one entirely Zerg group here in Group D, which is going to be, that's going to be a fun one when we really get to unpack a matchup like that, especially a mirror matchup. And with Queen Hyun, Effort, and Calm, it's going to be crazy. I think Queen gets out, but you know the other three, it's very hard to say.
Very, very difficult. I think Effort is actually like one of my picks. Like I'm a big Effort fan. I think that he is an unbelievable talent, and his style fits Zerg vs. Zerg very, very well. But yeah, even that ZVZ group, like that's going to be a quick day. You're going to know when that VOD drops.
Yeah.
That is going to be really funny because only Zerg vs. Zerg. Hopefully we get something crazy in there though.
Yeah, well, I mean, ZVZ, I think, is a fun, interesting matchup. It's just so tight and so punishing. So it'll be cool to do a deep dive there. There have been some major changes as well in the last couple seasons. We've seen, like, gas geysers taken, long-distance mining gas. Because, I mean, a lot of weird stuff that I never even thought could be pulled off in StarCraft, including these games where they actually did tech out of mutas and lings as well. So, overall, yeah, very Terran heavy, but it should be a really exciting group. And with the low number of Protoss players, I actually don't think that's going to impact the number of Protoss players that we see later on in the tournament. I think we should have some pretty good Protoss representation.
Yeah, well, I think Snow and Mini and Best are like basically just going to run through the bracket and very likely top 8. I think Bisu actually has a pretty tough group, so I'm not sure if he's going to get through that in best of ones. He's got 3 very different Terran players. And I don't think PVT is his best matchup. I think he's very good at it. So I'm a little bit nervous about that. Stork, you never know how he's going to play. But yeah, that paralyzed guy, man, he's going to be a lot of people's favorite. But
hello and welcome to the opening day of the round of 24 here at ASL Season 20, brought to you by Google Play and Gravity. This is Ian Bean. I'll be your announcer throughout this season, as Lee Hyung-young is unavailable due to personal circumstances. I'm looking forward to this opportunity to get to know the StarCraft fanbase more intimately. With autumn fast approaching, the 20th chapter in the ASL story begins, and on the first page of that chapter are these 4 players going into Group A of the round of 24. Sharp, Ample, Larva, and Stork. Welcome, guys. Hello. Let's first have a word with Tier 1 player Sharp, who'll be kicking us off in this round of 24. It's been a while since you had to go through the qualifiers, and perhaps that's the reason you're feeling anxious, as you said in your personal blog. How are you holding up ahead of the best of 1 round of 24? It's been so long since I had to play in the qualifiers. I was anxiously excited to do so, but now having to deal with all these best of 1 matches in the round of 24, it gives me the shudders. Are you nervous? Yes, I am. Still, I'm looking forward to seeing you play, especially given that last season, even though you went into it as a seeded player, you closed the tournament without a single win. So no doubt, you'll be determined as ever to show what you're capable of. The more I think about having to get a good showing, the worse it ends up being. So I'm rather thinking about enjoying every moment here instead. Hope you have a good time playing then. And a very exciting opponent awaits you in Ample, who's making his return to the tournament proper after his last appearance nigh 2 years ago in Season 16. How do you feel now that you're about to play on the big stage for the first time in a while? I'm looking forward to it. Things should get interesting. Got it. It was ever so thrilling to see you advance to the round of 16 4 seasons ago. Many people have high expectations for you today as well. Are they right in doing so? Well, I prepared diligently, so I'll show you what I've got. Ready and raring to go is Ample. That's what we like to see. Up next, we have Group A's Tier 2 player, somebody who we haven't seen in donkey's years, the returning champion of Season 11. It's Larva. Seeing it's your grand return, you must be ever so excited. What's it like to be here with the fans once more? I'm very thankful to all the people who showed up today, and there's quite a lot of people here indeed. My family is here as well, so I'm planning to have a good performance. With so many fans and your family in attendance, a good showing is a must. Can't wait. Now, some people will have seen your qualifier games, but with this being your first offline appearance in a long time, many are wondering just how much you have improved. How would you rate your current form?
좀 어느 정도까지 올라왔다고 생각하시나요?
아무래도 4년 만에 다시 게임을
I started taking the game seriously again after 4 years.
바뀌어져 있더라고요.
Many things have changed,
좀 아직은
and I'm not
부족하지만
quite
그
up to speed
부분들을
yet.
새로
There are
배워가는
things I will have to relearn from
오늘
scratch,
그 배웠던 거를 좀 뽐내는 자리이기도
but the
하기
things I
때문에
have learned
오늘
I will
좋은
apply
모습을
today
보여드립니다.
and hopefully have a good run.
채운 모습을 보여주겠다 이런 말씀을 해주셨습니다.
Filling some of the gaps in his play, Larva is determined to have a good showing today. Up next we have Group A's Tier 3 player Stork. Torn between practicing and raising his kids, he cut down sleep, and the result was an impressive run in the first round of the qualifiers. How have you adjusted ahead of this round of 24, I wonder? All of a sudden, I started fumbling the games a lot, and I thought to myself, out of all the groups, why did I have to be in the very first one? Thankfully, though, I composed myself 2-3 days ago, and I should be able to do well today. Stork is saying that game-wise, his condition is good. All in all, in this group, we have 2 Tyrants and a Zerg. Stork, looking at this lineup, what went through your head? It's been a while since I advanced to the round of 16. I had to face tough opponents in the round of 24. Compared to those groups, I feel like this one is relatively doable, but I feel I don't play as well nowadays. I'll have to peck my way through today. Peck your way through the matches, you say. Let's dive deeper with our 4 players. With the ASL round of 24 always being best of 1, upsets are commonplace. And Ample caused quite a stir in the round of 24 of Season 16, where he defeated Queen twice and then made his first ever round of 16, where he eliminated Bisu in the losers match of the round of 16. However, Sharp did not fall victim to that upset. What do the two of you think? Will Ample once again become an agent of chaos? Let's start with Ample. When it comes to upsets, races become a limiting factor. With 1 or 2, it's doable. With all 3, things get tricky. It won't be easy, you say. And what does Sharp think? I gotta keep my guard up. That's right, you can't fall victim to an upset. As we bear this point in mind, heading into the matches, expectations are also high for Larva, making his return. What scenario are you painting for this group? Who would you have to defeat to continue on and return to your former glory? All 3 are tough opponents, however you look at it. I'm sort of thinking, if I'm advancing, let's advance quickly. Let's get this over with. Oh, so you're looking to play quick games? Right. Can't wait to see what you have to show for this comeback. Now this season, Protoss are a minority, and expectations are high for Admiral Stork to lead Protoss into battle in this first group. And this season, one of the maps is Roaring Currents, which was modeled after the Myeongyang Strait, where a famous naval battle took place with Admiral Lee Sun-shin. So many fans are expecting you to lead Protoss to victory there in similar fashion. What do you think? Whenever a new map came out, I would usually feel confident, but oddly enough, this season I'm struggling to adapt. I wanted to be placed in one of the latter groups so I could see the other Protoss players play in it first. It was short-sighted of me. I feel the map in the winner and losers matches is tough. I really have to do well in the first match. It won't be easy, is that what you're saying? Yes. Got it. Can't wait to see what sort of matches unfold today. We've heard from our 4 players now. Let's close things out with their final remarks. Sharp, I've been shown a lot of support today as well. I'll have nothing to regret after today. I will work hard. I prepared diligently for this comeback. It will be a good day. I practiced so much so that my fingers hurt. I'll empty my mind, I'll play relaxed and do my best. And that does it for our interview with the 4 players ahead of the first group of the round of 24. Who will be the first player to advance to the round of 16 in this ASL Season 20, done in partnership with Google Play and Gravity? Let's start Group A and find out.
All right, so
All right.
yeah. Because Tassel's going to talk. Okay. Look,
We always time out our all rights right at the start of
Yeah,
the show here. That's
yeah.
how we like to open now.
so make sure we're synced up and ready to cast. This is one of the better groups, I think, in the round of 24. It's really interesting. It's got all three
Yeah.
races, which is nice, because we do have like that all Zer group, and then we only have like 4 Protosses in this round. So, yeah, it's definitely a very exciting one. Sharp, Larva, Stork, Ample. I would like to hear what your take is on this group.
I mean, Larva, I think, has got a very good shot when he's on. He's really, he looks untouchable. Sharp and Ample, I would put then in the middle here.
Okay.
And, Sharp as well. Sometimes Sharp is just an absolute killer.
Yeah.
He's untouchable. If I had to pick 2, I guess Sharp, Larva. Stork, I have a really hard time predicting how he's going to play because sometimes he looks amazing and then other times it seems like it falls very flat on its face.
Yeah, I think he had some of the best PVT in the world around the time of last season, and then he kind of fell flat on it. That does happen with him. But the one person I want to talk about here a little bit is Ample. We've seen him in KSL in the past. We've seen him in ASL in the past, but only occasionally. He's one of the most aggressive Terran players that we have in the pro scene. Like, he has always been very aggressive, but he has completely changed himself. If you guys remember how Speed was last season, where it's like, guys, Speed is playing so much. He's top of the ladder. He has like 8 accounts in the top 10. Ample is that guy this season. He has been #1 on the ladder. He has worked on his macro play so much. It's like he's a brand new player, but he takes those older skills that he has where he's really good at attacking and finding openings, and he's now combined that with building out the base of his standard macro play. So that, I'm very excited to see how he'll do. I actually think he is a dark horse in this season because he is in the best shape of his life times 1,000,000.
It's very cool when you get somebody who's, I would put in the lower tier of players here. And don't get me wrong, Ample's really good, right? But I don't think he's as scary as somebody like Light, as an example, or as consistent either. Like Rush is another player that comes up here. But when you hear a story like that he goes back and he's basically done a total makeover, a total glow up of his style. He's taken the skills he had and then gone back and also revamped a lot of his openings.
Yeah.
He should be a very tough player to play against. It's pretty common when players really improve is they have a certain approach to the game and they eventually find the walls. Sorry, they hit the walls in progress. They can't get much better than that because maybe their play style has too many characteristics. It stands out too much. These designs are hilarious. But then when they go back and they revamp them and they come back out. So funny.
I love these sides, guys. Thank you for keeping Tasteless honest.
Yeah. we love you guys. These are great. No, but if they can come back and they can bring that old style, but then have this whole new and improved form with it, they can be very formidable. So this is going to be an interesting one to see.
Can't wait. Dominator for map 1. Let's go.
ASL Season 20.
Okay. Down in the bottom left, it is Ample, although they did show Sharp initially. Okay, there's Ample now. And Sharp is going to be directly above him here on the map. As we always do, guys, before this game really picks up and kicks off, please consider supporting us on our Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. We wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. Because of your support, we've been able to get the clean feed from Soup. We produce our own broadcast on top of it, and we've been releasing it on YouTube. It's meant the world for us to keep the history of StarCraft alive. So if you haven't signed up already and you're in a position financially to do so, we would love you forever if you did.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. You're really the best, and I mean, this tournament is the most fun, most excellent thing that we do each year. It's just another level. So thank you. Now, talking about this match, okay, so a few things. First off, Sharp plays generally a very non-standard Terran versus Terran. He is really good Terran versus Terran. He's very steady Terran versus Terran, but he generally doesn't play the meta, and he almost always starts with a position you would consider behind, but he's very good from that spot. As far as Ample goes, well, we can see he's going a forward barracks here. That's just, you can put some pressure on if your opponent expands too quick or something like that, so that's kind of nice. But yeah, as far as what Ample's going to do, it's really hard to tell because, again, he's historically so aggressive, but he's fixed up his macro play so much. And, he's going to go for a gaseous expansion, Tasteless.
Very interesting. He's going to send that SCV out now. And, well, he's sending it actually across the map. But, yeah, I mean, without a gas, the resources can only go into a CC here. And that's kind of cool to see. I really did not expect either of these guys to have this up their sleeve, especially not Ample. So, this kind of rings true to what you were saying, Tastosis, that, Ample's come with a very remapped approach to the matchup.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This isn't something that you would have expected to see out of him previously, but a gasless expansion is a really strong opener. It's specifically strong against a factory expansion, which is probably what Sharp will do here. We did have a really weird broken metagame for a little bit after Light released a video where he showed how to do this insane 2-factory in this matchup, and it broke the metagame for a week and a half where every TVT was this one build order. But it seems like we've gotten past that at this point. It was while you and I were at EWC, so I'm still weak to the build because I didn't get to see how it evolved where no one does it anymore. But anyways, it looks like Ample will probably have a slight edge as far as the build orders go, but it's not, the gasless expand against factory expand. It's not unplayable for the factory expand player.
Well, the obvious disadvantage is that the base is going to be up right away. The SCV, by the way, seeing the bunker, you pretty much know this is a fast expand. You never really see a bunker out there. It's not like PvT where TVP, where there are these moments where you might want to throw a bunker out there and you are trying to do something weird and cheesy. But yeah, I mean, it's a situation where I guess the edge will obviously, as far as tech goes, to Sharp. But is there any easy way to punish this, Tastosis?
Sometimes players will do something like get a vulture drop off. Here, it doesn't look like that'll be the case. I can't tell 100% yet. I think it's likely he'll just go into mines and just play a regular standard game from here. That's... I've seen some other builds too, right? Because no matter how you look at it, you are slightly behind with this build as Sharp. But like I said, it is playable. You can play from a slightly behind position in Terran versus Terran, and it's actually kind of okay because the matchup is very difficult to end. I would say the problem is not only is he slightly behind, but there's rotational dominance basically on Dominator in this matchup. So if you are behind your opponent, you have a much better position because you can siege up into the main base really quickly. So if he pushes just directly north, if you look on the mini-map, and if he goes directly north through that corridor that's been scouted, you can basically get one dropship and push into the main super, super fast. So that's something that Sharp has to keep on top of. And it's just a little bit harder because Ample's going to have a few more units.
Does that block?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Did he even need the other depot down there in the bottom below the other depot that was making?
Yeah, because he set 2 Marines out to attack this flying barracks. He didn't have enough DPS to kill the vultures. So Sharp actually used that moment. If the depot wasn't there, he would have run in and gotten more damage because there was no vulture yet. So I mean, I think it was a good block overall. And oh wow, this isn't very much like how Sharp normally plays. He is going for a pretty quick starport here. He went for the mines, which is pretty normal. He scouted 3-factory vulture, which is a really normal follow-up. I'm not sure what his plan is here with this starport, though. It looks like he wants to go Wraith, but I think he has to build a bunker with this, likely. Like, I'm actually really... If Sharp doesn't build a bunker, I could see Ample possibly getting a quick victory here.
Well, I mean, I don't feel like it would be for a drop ship. This just doesn't look like a good position where each player starts to do any kind of a drop, right? I mean, I guess you could go all the way around the you know, right side of the map in that big blind spot, but yeah, I mean, I would guess it would be for Wraiths.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Okay, he is going to make the bunker. It could be a drop. It's just actually, you know what would be good about the drop, I guess, is the timing is so off. You would never, like, if he makes a drop ship from here and drops, you're going to be like, what? You know, you kind of have it in your head, like, when things like a drop will hit. And this would be, like, a very off timing. So there is potential for Sharp to get damage. But map control should go almost 100% to Ample here for a little bit. But Sharp's used to that, like I was saying at the beginning. Like, he doesn't really do standard openers. And he almost always loses his map control in the early game.
So Ample's got a decent amount of vultures pulled out here. This is all very common in TVT to see the accumulation of lots of vultures out on the map. And because they're so fast, and there it is, it's going to be that drop coming up here. And he's actually not going to go around the other side. He's going to go down here through the left. But I guess it's a move that, I mean, there aren't turrets over there, right? And if we do see these vultures come up here in the front, maybe there's nothing to protect these SCVs over here in the natural.
You know, he does have 3 tanks and a bunker with 2 Marines, so I would say I would feel very confident holding off a huge amount of vultures with that. So it all comes down to how much damage this will be from Sharp. I've never seen this particular build, Tastosis, but it feels like it's working really well.
No, this is smart. You know what he did earlier? We almost missed it, but 2 vultures kind of faked trying to run inside the main and then ran away. And then from Ample's perspective, he thought, oh, okay, well, I've stopped your counterattack, and now I can try to chase this down and kill it and keep that vulture lead. And then he actually dropped. And the surface area here is perfect. It's got the depot, the bunker, the tanks, and even 1 vulture blocking that area off. And so he's not able to get in there with his own vultures. And this is just, right now, really bad for Ample. I mean, he's just losing workers. He isn't able to trade anything out. The 1 Wraith is here, and it's killing the SCV that's making the armory. Obviously, that's eventually going to finish, but this is a lot of lost SCVs in a 2-base versus 2-base situation, and I don't see any way for Ample to counterpunch.
I don't as well. Like, this looks dominating for Sharp at the moment. Like, he's got to get his comsats up. That's the only thing that's a little bit late here. But he still has mines in between the bases. He knows his opponent doesn't have comsats. He's forcing Goliaths from here. He's already killed a fair amount of SCVs, so I would say without any doubt, Sharp has more workers right now, and he has a higher quality army with more tanks. I can't believe it, man. Like, I've never seen this opener. Like, I see vulture drops all the time against gasless expansion, but the fact that he went like 2 factory, kind of slower drop ship, I think you're right. When he poked with the 2 vultures, because you kind of expect a little something. It's like, oh, is he going to try to run by my bunker? Is he going to try to drop? And then, like, he even takes a bunch of damage on him and backs him up. It's like, yeah, I guess there's no drop. And then the drop does a decent damage, and he's pushing out. Like, this looks really good for Sharp right now.
Well, sometimes when you drop later, it's almost better. Because if they don't sense a drop coming right away, a lot of the defenses for that will be ignored later on. And that's kind of what happened here. I mean, he set it up a pretty deceptive fake little counterattack beautifully. Taking out the barracks, by the way, that's annoying. He'll have to remake that if he wants to make more factories. But, you know, for now, we're seeing Sharp just kind of continue to have these nice little plays. Comes in there and snipes the SCV that was making that command center. I'm a little bit surprised, just based off how this game has gone so far, to see a command center made out in the open, you know, for how high risk that really is.
Yeah. Well, another drop coming out for Sharp here. He's going to try to lay mines, but Ample was really smart to put down 2 siege tanks. Oh, wow. Wow. The tank actually did not target the mine there. You needed to manually target it, so it actually loses a lot more than I thought he would there. But Ample's defense is okay, and he is getting that relatively quick 3rd command center, so that's one way he can start to catch up as well.
For now, these vulture drops are, and honestly the Wraiths in the back here too, it's doing a good job being annoying. I mean, this isn't a ton of damage, but there's not depots that are being built. I think it's an academy that isn't being, oh no, it must be, what is that, an armory then? 2nd armory?
I think so, yeah.
Well, Something's not being made. I can't quite tell. But, I mean, this is a big nuisance. I do feel like, Sharp is playing a really nice game here. He didn't overmake Wraiths either. He's got just enough that it's something you have to respect. And it was actually the engineering bay that was in the process of being completed. Sharp has a third base now, but is going to have a fourth soon, too, with this SCV out in the open, making that command center. And it seems like Sharp is comfortable moving out on the map. Now, there's a lot of mines, but I think with the tank number, he should be able to clear this no problem.
Yeah, he's literally just attack moving through most of it. Does scan as he has to move up to high ground because of those missed shots. But now, here comes Ample. If Ample can get the ledge above that mineral base, he can actually turn this game into his favor very quickly. So Sharp is coming over with a ton of units. Very, very important. Should start sieging these as well. This is the most important spot on the map for this early portion of the game. And it looks like Sharp should be able to hold really easily. He gets a ton of tanks up there, plenty of vultures as well to kind of tank damage, and will push Ample back. But that's okay. Like, Ample can kind of just siege in this general area, and they can make a little no man's land in the center.
Ample bled off a lot back there.
Yes.
It was up to that moment, that's maybe the most important point in the game that happened there. Sharp did manage to control that high ground pretty easily. A decent amount of tanks are picked off. Once again, Sharp's going to loop around the map. If he doesn't go through the middle, he'll avoid all the mines. If he just makes the long way. And he's going to drop in the main again. I don't know how many turrets have actually been laid out here. It feels like this game has been so much about powering tanks and vultures that... Oh, okay, actually, he does have a decent ring of defenses over there with some turrets.
I love how Sharp's moving down the map, by the way. He has that one very important area kind of defended, and now he's just attacking down through the center. He's kind of closing in on Ample a little bit. This is, like, unbelievable play from Sharp. Like, we know he's great at Terran versus Terran. He's always delivered in this matchup, but this almost feels like a different level. Ample had a great opener. It looked like he should be in good shape. And Sharp is just destroying. Like, he is always in a better position. He's out-strategized in a lot of ways, despite having an inferior build order. It's awesome to see.
Yeah. He has really made this a pretty complicated game here for Ample. The Wraiths trying to drive back this barracks a little bit here. Center control going to Sharp. It's not clear to me how safe the 9 o'clock base is. But what is clear is that Ample is behind on expansions. And we're seeing Sharp now take yet another base here in the top right. And the map just feels very claustrophobic right now, from Ample's perspective.
I'm inspired right now. Like, watching the way Sharp is playing this, he's expanding so quickly. He's so on point. He looks absolutely fantastic. Pushing this area. He just pushed the other area. He's pushing this area while expanding once again. It does look like Ample's going to get some counter damage, though. This is what happens. You're so active on the map, there's nothing at home. So there will be a bit of damage here. He slows the 5th base as well, which is important. And hopefully Ample can do something to break one of these tank lines. If you allow both of Sharp's tank lines to remain, you're never going to win this game.
Yeah, I think counter drops here from Ample are going to be a must. Right now, he's just been on the receiving end, He's just been, like, being hit with drops and running over there with his own tanks and vultures and driving it out and then making turrets there to defend. But the map right now is very much in Sharp's control. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see another base come down here in a little bit. Sharp is almost maxed out. He's got a really healthy surround. And, the only base that can easily be taken right now by Ample would be the mineral only, which doesn't really... I mean, it's not bad, but it's not great, right? You really want a gas base in a position like this.
Totally. Like, taking a mineral only as your third base is okay because you're still in the heavy vulture phase, and it kind of, leapfrogs you into more bases. But, after that, people generally ignore mineral onlys. It's like, no, we just need to expand that gas count, get more tanks, possibly starport units, continue those upgrades. And Sharp is doing a great job of that. He's even got a lot of dropships and everything. It looks like Ample is going to try a break, and he should be able to break through here pretty easily. And again, if he can get that high ground above the mineral base, maybe he can turn this game around still.
Well, there's not going to be much above this other than what's moving in here right now. He doesn't have any tanks sieged up. Oh!
That was an insane mine. I cannot believe it. Just his units did not target it. And as Sharp comes up to defend this... I think that's game over. That's game over in my opinion, Tasteless. You are not coming back from this.
He made no progress there.
No progress.
He fed his entire army into that, especially all the tanks that he had accumulated. And you know, remember, without the extra gases that Sharp has, you can't even remake those tanks that fast. Again, the game just getting easier and easier here for Sharp. We've got some vultures on the mini-map moving out to the lower right. You know, they might be able to come up there and hit that top right base. But Sharp also has a lot of dropships being made. I don't know if that was a bad rally or what, but we just saw a lot of tanks bleed off there into the tank line.
Thing is, he can bleed a lot. He's expanded so many times. He's even taken that left-hand base, which I really didn't expect to see taken by Sharp, of all people. The vultures come in and will get a little bit of damage. It might be time for Sharp to just leave 2-3 army units at each base just to stop stuff like this. Yeah, see just 2 tanks, puts a Goliath down. That's like basically perfect. That'll stop vulture run-bys almost 100% for the rest of the game. So Ample right now, I think this is like his last chance to do anything is to make a really strong siege line across the bottom and expand to the right rapidly. And he must deny the 3 o'clock main from Sharp if he is to win this game.
Sharp headed now down here to the southern spot. There are some tanks. There's a decent amount of mines spread out here as well. I don't know if it's going to be enough to stop this. And he's actually going to drop these units over here into the center, to one of the more awkward slices of the map where there's high ground, just to make sure that everything that's tucked into the back here, just almost next to 6 o'clock, is going to be safe. But whenever you see a setup like that, a lot of times from the other player, the idea is that you're going to create tension somewhere else on the map. And so he's probably going to drop over here, maybe at the 9 o'clock base. What do you think, Artosis?
Yeah, it looks like he's going that way. That is a lot of dropships. 7 dropships will blow up a base quickly. So, you know, there are like 3 or 4 dropships that Ample has. Maybe he can come back and block this with those, plus the SCVs, plus the pre-siege tanks. Oh, that was a big mine hit at least. Oh, no, it didn't hit. Never mind.
It was actually shut down in the last second, apparently, as it popped out from a tank that was being unloaded there. Got the snipe. The drop actually doesn't do anywhere near as well as I thought it would have. It felt like the tanks were too far in the front and everything else that was supposed to soak was too far in the back. But Sharp has such a lead here that he can kind of fumble the ball a little bit with units and it's probably going to be okay. Meanwhile, a huge vulture run by is going to come up here and hit this top right base. And, you know, these moments are really what Ample needs if he's going to recover here.
Oh, unfortunately, he loses a lot of vultures to that last tank volley, so won't get as much damage as he was looking for at that base. But still, he's being annoying, and he's starting to push this other base. You know, this is why you kind of want like a handful of units at each base. Like 6 to 8 supply will slow these things down enough for you to respond. But Ample's making some progress, which is really impressive. But don't forget, he's mining out a lot. He's only mining from 2 bases right now. Sharp has a lot. Like, he can lose one of these bases and still be completely fine.
Another counter drop's going to come in here to try to stop the progress of this push. And I'm not sure if he can actually do it. I mean, the tanks are getting closer and closer here. They are now in range to hit this command center. And, you know, this has been a very uphill game from Ample, but he's kind of equalized stuff. I think positionally it's still better for Sharp, but, like, the supplies are even. We've seen a lot of the defending plays here from Sharp kind of backfire and blow up in his face. Ample is absolutely still in this game.
It's impressive watching him fight back. Like, you know, he gets some of the SCVs in the top right. He forces a lift off in the top left. There's still a lot of dropships here. I think that at this point, what you want to do is maintain your advantage as Sharp. Like, I think trying to kill Ample at this point is, like, very, very difficult to do. So if you just kind of start sieging, making turrets, that type of thing, you know, that's going to make it really tough for Ample to continue this comeback.
Yeah. It's probably going to come down to who can control this lower right starting location. You know, the third spawn on the map that neither of them had. Because the no man's land has basically been created. And it does feel a little bit like that's going to go to Sharp, even though I think it would be pretty manageable for Ample to try to push in and control the natural. It just seems like with the dropship play and the way this game's going. Oh my god, okay, hold on a second. Big drop coming up here. A lot of times when you see this drop coming, what you do is you want to drop on their drop. Just
Totally.
wait for their drop to move, set up, and then land right on top of it and kill everything off.
That's one of the
But
cleanest.
that's apparently not happening.
That is one of the cleanest ways to win a TVT that you're winning is you just counter drop every drop they do. But there's this big group actually attacking Ample's additional base there. Ample's still trying to push up and gain this high ground. Like this, again, if you somehow gain this position and can wreck their main, you could still theoretically come back. But Ample is losing a lot, man. He's mining from like a mineral base and his original third, which is not very healthy. Although I guess Sharp doesn't have that much, really, when you look at it. Like, he's definitely got a lot more supply at the moment, but really only his top 2 right bases are going. So better than Ample, but not dominating in that way.
I think that Ample's getting close to dying here. I think he's overextended a little bit too much. I don't even know why he would be dropping around that mineral-only base. Like, it's not exactly a great spot. And Sharp's got a pretty insane supply lead here. I'm also not used to seeing both of these tank upgrades on
Yeah,
screen at
that's
the time.
a new
I guess
thing.
it's a new addition in production.
Oh, wow.
But then I'm confused about who has which upgrade.
Yeah. I am too. Whoever they were clicking on was the bottom one.
Yeah, I looked at it and I'm like, I'm going to see if Tastosis got that one. I'm not totally sure what's going on here. But
Yeah, I actually was
clearly
looking
one
at
player was ahead.
oh, did we screw something up, Tastosis? What's going on here? Oh, my gosh. So
ahead,
Ample
Arturo.
right now is trying to retake this base. It is definitely doable because there's no anti-air right there. But Sharp is expanding to both the 3 o'clock main and natural. So that's kind of like the next thing that Ample needs to deal with. If Sharp gets those bases, 3-player maps, the reason why they're so fun is because you have to battle over the third base, the third main base. And like, if someone gets that, generally that player will end up winning. So definitely something that Ample has to keep in mind. Sharp doing a big drop here over the mineral base, getting this incredibly powerful position. That is a lot of Goliaths. That is a hilarious amount of Goliaths. But yeah, we're getting to the very end of this game now, I think.
Yeah, he is completely pinned right now. Unable to take that 6 o'clock base again. He's going to lose the mineral only. This is going to knock him all the way back to 3 bases. GG. Sharp with a little bit over half the map, crushing through there. Great play at the start. I think Ample fought back really well. For a little bit, it looked like it could have been a game that Ample would have powered through and just through, sheer will and determination actually come back. But, Sharp, he stabilized pretty well there in the end and ultimately kind of took his advantage and closed it out.
Yeah, very well played. I am really inspired by how Sharp opened that game up with the late drop, doing a lot of damage, just some good macro behind it. Very, very smart way to position himself against that gasless expand. And I think you saw Ample is way improved, man. He played a straight-up macro game. Sharp kind of out-strategized him, outplayed him. What can you do? He's one of the best Terrans in the world, but Ample's still looking good here today.
Really like that delayed drop. Right when you think it's going to be all about positioning, you hit the fake out with the 2 vultures to then run away to make it look like, oh, now you're completely safe. Now you can move out with everything. Only then to drop. The Wraith follow-up was nice, too. And so we're going to be going to a break in a second here, guys. And when we come back, we're going to be going to Larva versus Stork. We'll see you guys in just a minute.
Made for the best. Made for who you can be. For esports pros, any miss can mean defeat. That's why the Death Adder V4 Pro has everything lined up. A fast, ergonomic design. A quantum leap in speed. Optical tracking for pixel-perfect scrolling. And a sensor more precise and intelligent than any other. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
I'ma run into the fire. I'm stronger than all of you dreamed. I'm stronger than all you dreamed. I'm stronger than all of you dreamed. I've been on a spree, no stopping me, no one has a chance. No one has a chance. Going for the crown, I'ma shut it down. This is what I plan. This is what I plan. This is what I plan. I'ma execute it. I'll be running through it. No one else who can. No one else who can. I was chosen for it. Y'all cannot ignore it. I'm a bigger man. I've been moving forward and against the current. This is who I am. This is who I am.
Welcome back, everybody. We're ready to go into this next match. Great TBT back there. Artosis was talking about how Ample has really upgraded his style, has taken what he already had, which was great poppy aggressive play, and then layered on top of that a lot more solid macro openings with it. And I think we saw some of that in that last game. But Sharp's style is so unique to him. Even if you know he's going to have a lot of tactical plays in the game, a lot of times you don't know when and where it's going to happen. And so in the end, Sharp takes that game. And that brings us now to Stork versus Larva.
Yeah, a great first game, and I'm excited for the second match. Looking at it, I'd never have a lot of faith in Stork's Protoss for Zerg. I think that's been one of the harder things for him over the years. But, Larva hasn't been, super active. Obviously, he's active again right now. It did take him a couple days to get through those qualifiers. But here he is. He's a former champion. Zerg versus Protoss. We'll see what he wants to do. Historically, he was very much like a macro Zerg in the matchup, but we all know how good... oh, God, he's got the hairdryer again.
He's got the hairdryer back.
Oh, my God. He is so funny, man.
By the way,
I'm so glad he's back.
I straight up didn't recognize him when I saw him. I guess he's lost a lot of weight. It looks like he has a new head.
Yeah.
I thought he straight up just went and got himself a new head. That's where Korea's at. You can actually just... I need to get myself a new head, actually. Just
head
looking at how we
surgery.
show up on camera here. Yeah. He's looking great. It's good to have him back. Larva has had moments where he's the best player in the world, and then moments where he takes time off. I respect it. I think a lot of times that's one of the healthiest approaches to the game, is to pour yourself into it 100% and then step away. And so he's using the hairdryer now. I think maybe there's one other player in the world that I've seen do this in a different game.
Oh,
Can
maybe.
you remember we talked about this a while back?
Well,
Somebody
I remember
using the hairdryer for the mouse
him
pad.
doing that. Yeah, I remember Larva doing it.
No, I remember him doing it, but yeah, I think somewhere else in the world someone was also seen with a hairdryer. So this isn't. We'll see if hand drying with hairdryers becomes more and more of a thing.
Well, I think it's.
It was like when.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, well, I think it's about warming his hands more than anything. Keeping your hands warm is incredibly important, right?
Sure. You need to have your hands nice and heated up. I find playing StarCraft when my hands are cold is almost impossible.
It's impossible.
But, normally you get the blood flowing there. I believe that's his wife and kid, by the way, back there in the previous shot. But, we had it where Flash showed up with a ruler and measured out where his keyboard and mouse were. And then I think later that year, we also saw Taquito in Street Fighter do the same thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which, by the way, they could have thought it up separately. It's not like only one person in the world can think of that, but it's interesting when you have the very best of their game, and this is some of the stuff they do to prep.
Absolutely. And those are the very best. So we're going to get into Dominator. Oh, I got to say one more thing about the hairdryer. I love that you could tell it's the one just from his house. It's not like a gaming hairdryer. It's just like he unplugged it from his bathroom.
Well, it's not a gaming hairdryer yet, Arto.
No, not
some
yet.
RGB lights on that. Okay, Larva here in the center right. Stork here in the bottom left.
Oh, I'm excited to see how this goes. Like, what type of shape is Stork going to be in for this matchup? I feel like I haven't seen his Protoss versus Zerg in a little bit. But, yeah, do you have, like, a preference here, Tastosis? I love having Larva in the tournament, but there's something about Stork, man. Like, he is the oldest consistent player in ASL. Yeah, I think Hyun is actually the only player that is technically older than him. He's like a few months older, and that's it. And it's like, there's something about that I really appreciate, is seeing the oldies really try to push themselves to do well in these tournaments. Probably Tasteless because I'm old.
I can get behind that myself, Artosis. Stork has had these moments of brilliance. We should note that there was a period where he was considered, this is sort of pre-StarCraft 2. He was evaluated as like maybe rank 4 of all time. Again, pre-StarCraft 2. But that's a lot of history to be very, very top format. Unlike Jaedong and Bisu, who are also in top 4, I guess along with Flash, we should mention, who's, just recently was playing just a few years ago, Stork has not had the same kind of success that Bisu and even Jaedong have had. Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Like, Bisu being in a top 8 is very common. And now Jaedong being in a top 8 has also become much more common.
Yes.
Right? And even when he doesn't make it, he looks exceptional. Stork seems to be very hot or cold. Okay, I love the hidden drone, by the way. Just so that the hatchery can't be blocked. But I am still kind of waiting for Stork to have enough big blowout performances where I feel like I can confidently say that he's going to be a real threat. I always feel like in any individual game, Stork can absolutely kill somebody. He just has these moments of brilliance. But he does seem to struggle a little bit, especially long series or against players that are just absolutely on top of the meta. So, Stork's a guy I studied a lot when I was a young competitive player.
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of appreciation for him. I'm still kind of waiting and rooting for the moment where he will come back and look so strong. When I moved to Korea and was solo casting, so before I got to really cast with you, Artosis, I got to cast some tournaments of him, including where he beat Flash at GOM TV, and like he was just so good. And it's just hard for me to and it's not that he's not as good as he was back then, because actually everybody's better now. Like Artosis is better now than he was back then. I'm better now. Everybody's better now, if they're active at all, because the collective knowledge everybody has kind of pushes you further forward. And the state of the metagame is so much more advanced.
Yes.
But I don't see Stork placing the same way he would in the past. I don't see him being the same threat he was in the past, if that makes sense.
100%. And the thing is, he wasn't quite as good as Bisu or Jaedong or Flash back then. He was a clear rank 4, whereas the other ones you could kind of argue where they were placed at a given moment. But, like, not just that, he is a bit older. He didn't perform as well as them back in the day. And also, don't forget, like, he's a father, like that's something you have to take into consideration. And like, I think it just makes it like a more difficult task for him to do things like a top 8, but he's like always in ASL, which in and of itself is ridiculous. There's only 28 players are in ASL every season, and he never misses it.
No, never. And he was also very consistent in StarCraft 2 when he played there as well, and was regarded as one of the best coaches for the game. He just had a real understanding of it. So the scouting probe, by the way, has been killed off. We don't have a Hydra Den, right? I mean, that's always the thing we got to watch for in this matchup early on, is if the probe's killed, is there any kind of Hydra tech, or is this going to be more of a normal game?
No Hydraless Den. Instead, it will be a lair, so probably a quick Spire coming out of Larva. He's always enjoyed that style. This one Zealot here going to have to run back behind the minerals as these Zerglings kind of chase it down. That'll at least keep them busy for now. Larva does look like he wants to clean that up and not leave it any longer. And actually kills it really efficiently. They're only losing one Ling and getting one very low.
The second scouting probe is going to come in and try to get inside the base. And, I mean, he can try to scout the natural. So far, Larva's control has just been perfect. And as Artosis was saying, this is going to be the Spire tech, which I think Larva probably uses more than almost any other Zerg we see. Just, very consistently likes to get either the Scourge play or sometimes go for mutas. He's had plenty of games where he'll kind of, do that surprise jump scare muta attack. And on Stork's end, he's not going to get air weapons. He's going to go ahead and get the Citadel and just keep teching up.
No big surprise there. I remember back when KSL was still a thing, right? When Remaster was kind of new and we had like a ton of leagues going on. I remember Larva going muta more than probably any other top Zerg at that point. And it's still pretty popular to go muta, to go 5 muta, but the heavy muta is a little bit more rare. It'll be interesting to see which way he wants to go, or does he want to just make the Force Scourge and go Hydra? That's obviously very popular as well.
Yeah, the Force Scourge is, I guess, the most basic, straightforward approach. I mean, you're just macroing up. He did actually get the air weapons upgrade a little bit later, so he just got the Citadel earlier and went for air weapons a little bit later. That might have been prompted when he saw that second gas. And Stork has done this basically perfectly, but you can get it to where you can run in there with the Corsair and run out before you die from Scourge and scout what they do, as long as you weren't slowed down. It's one of the reasons why the most important rule in the matchup for Protoss early on is don't let Zerglings get in your base, because they're going to slow down your mining, and then every other thing you need to do is late, and you're basically playing in the dark.
Yes. Obviously at this point, you have to really keep an eye. It's okay, is he actually going to go Mutalisks or not? Because if you get that wrong, you can die just as easily as these Zerglings could have killed you if they got in your base earlier.
He's going to send 4 Zealots around. Now, this is going to be great for scouting. It'll be a bit of a suicide mission. I didn't quite see how he got these around here, but he's come over here. And, he can get some drone kills. This is great. The drones are not great at blocking. The Zealots just killed him so fast. So he's already taken out 2, and he can run right into the main, even trying to attack some of these on the ramp. This is a great play. Getting the kill there, going back up even further. If he can get behind the minerals, that would be huge as well.
That was quite a shock to Larva. I feel like he microed really well, but still definitely took damage. Some mutas popping out now, and this is always a great scout to get also. Is that the mutas are out, and you have to defend against that. A couple more Zealots as the speed finishes do go into this third base. You can see actually it's very heavy droning right now. Stork has actually put on some very nice pressure with these Zealots. My gosh, he's really gotten quite a bit of damage.
So the Zealots are going to run in here now. And, they're getting a lot of kills on these drones. I feel like Larva could have been a little bit stronger at pulling these away. I think on some level he couldn't believe this was still happening. He's banked up, Stork has banked up a decent amount of Corsairs here as well. So he's going to be able to fight the Mutalisks. The only way that Zerg can beat Corsairs when they get this high a number, especially after +1 attack is done, is if they come in from one side with the mutas and from a different side with the Scourge.
Well, the few mutas that come in do get absolutely ravaged by this huge group of Corsairs. Stork doing a pretty good job with those overall. More mutas flying down. How many is that? Is that 5? I think so. I don't think he can really do anything with them, honestly. Yeah, it's 6 mutas and a handful of Scourge. I don't know. I guess he's going to try.
Well, this is a big investment when you get this many Scourge. And, the exchanges between Corsairs and Scourge can be very asymmetric. You can just kill all the Corsairs and not lose that much. Or you can end up where, the Corsairs are all shot down. They don't connect to anything. So both sides have to be very careful with how they play this. The Archon is the one thing that can't be engaged at all. Not until Hydralisks are out. So the Archon can kind of lead the push, and the Corsairs and the Zealots can kind of stay within range of it. But a lot of Zergs are really good at holding this kind of stuff off now. When you get to their base, you want to have the Sunken Colony target the Archon every time.
Oh, 100%. That's one of the most important things you can do. And you can see he does retarget it there and gets a hit on the Archon. It does full damage to those shields, which is gigantic. But yeah, the Archon is the kind of linchpin of this attack. It keeps those Corsairs alive, which keeps the Zealots alive, because you're not allowing the mutas to get there. But quite a few Hydras coming out now for Larva as well.
Yeah, the Hydras on the map is going to give the advantage to Larva. A couple Zealots might change that, but, this is really all about control. We don't have Templars here yet, but I would imagine Psystorm's being upgraded. We had a huge exchange there, and the Corsairs came out on top. There's more Corsairs in this game than there are Mutalisks. The Scourge are going to come in here with a great blind side, but that's still a lot of anti-air here.
7 Corsairs is a very serious amount. He has taken a bit more damage there than probably what he wanted. But I think it's time to get into that Psystorm. I don't foresee any of the Zealot, Archon, Corsair, Roam really doing anything other than keeping Larva in a little bit of a defensive stance, because we're getting a lot of Hydras out now, and that can just completely destroy an army like that. You really need Psystorm at this point.
Yeah, he's done a good job here, but he might get actually stuck in this lower location. He's done a really good job at taking out most of the Corsairs. I thought for a second maybe Stork could have kind of tried to angle it better, but you know, the fact they were spread out that much means now the Mutas are in control. In fact, the Mutas are going to come in here and they're going to smash the 3 Corsairs coming back home. So Stork is basically trying to maneuver around this. Now, he can use his Zealots to spot where this is and try to get the Corsairs back home that way. But this is pretty rough because you're going to have to start your Corsair production up all over again. Or switch into Dark Archons.
That is really rough. Like, he actually needs Psystorm for these Hydras coming up. It seems like Larva is starting to take a pretty big edge here after killing that many Corsairs. Maybe a little bit too far of a dive there from Stork, and Larva instantly punishing. Here comes Stork's actual army. He does have High Templars in there, so you have to be very, very careful.
You know, I think it's so important that the Protoss doesn't ever get caught behind the Zerg, where they can't run back without getting killed by Corsairs. So the new Corsairs are going to come up. Now, all the Mutas have to do is snipe any Templars. And it looks like they only were able to take out 1. There's more Templars coming up here. But if the Hydra count gets high enough, that's really when the game ends. When the Hydras can kill the Dragoons, the Zealots, and the Archons, that's when you know you're screwed, because there's no way to really micro against that. Oh, my God. The Mutas are actually going to snipe on this Archon, I think. Oh.
I tell you, that engage didn't look very good for Larva at the beginning, but he just kind of overwhelmed a little bit. Now, there is a DT out here, so that's going to force those Hydras back, and Stork, with that 3rd base, should be able to really get his army count up. But Larva's supply is higher than what you want to see at this phase of the game. When you're only, like, look at this, 91 to 110, that's a lot of Zerg that's out there. Don't forget, Zerg units are just not supply heavy. A Hydralisk is 1 supply. Every Protoss ground unit you see is 2.
Yeah. Yeah, one might look at a Zealot and a Hydra and think, yeah, that's about the same supply, but it's only half, which is crazy. So you can get a lot of Hydras out on the map. Now, even though Larva's got a pretty big army, he only just now started his 4th base. By the way, this is exactly what Larva needs to do. Just keep sniping Templars and get back out.
Ooh, 5 kills on that Dark Templar. Really nice move from Stork to get in there and snipe a few drones at that new 4th base. It is a mineral-only base, but it's in a really good position to be able to defend. I do wonder, is Larva going to stay on this, like, really active Mutalisk Hydra comp, or do you think we'll see him actually go into Lurkers, which can be so good on Dominator because of all the high ground pizza slices?
I think he'll eventually get the Lurkers if he wants this game to go on for a long time, but the thing, you know, once you go for Lurkers, you're basically stopping Mutas. It's kind of hard to have both of them at once. It seems like for now, Larva's still looking for a fight. I think because we don't see a lot of Corsairs out, he's still pretty confident he could probably run in there and hit the Templars. By the way, you're kind of past the point of getting Dark Archons now. The Dark Archon has to be made pretty preemptively, pretty early on.
Well, a full group of Mutas going to be flying in here and maybe looking for some more High Templar kills, maybe even some probe kills. No cannons back here at the natural, so he will get a little bit of damage. Psystorm gets a little bit whiffed there. Wow, this is actually some really reasonable damage from the Mutalisks.
Yeah, when Corsairs are in the game, you don't really have to worry about this, but when they're gone, suddenly the Mutalisks can just fly into your base. They don't have to respect the cannons, and a lot of times they can just dodge storms.
A lot of Hydras coming down to the south here. They're going to go up to that high ground. Yeah, they cannot break through that army. A very strong ground army there from Stork. But Stork's real problem right now is what those Mutas are doing. They're buying a lot of time as well, which is allowing Larva to really mass up, and he's even taking a 5th down there at about 6 o'clock.
Going to come in here and take out this Corsair. I guess barely not, but this is where I worry for Stork. Now, look, there is one saving grace, which is that if he can just have a solid push, especially without lurkers in play, if he has, like, let's say 4 or 5 great storms, if he can get his army from point A to point B, and maybe even just push into the natural, he could win the game. But right now, no matter how you cut it, this just looks a lot easier of a game here for Larva. And he kind of knows that. He's doing a great job playing keep away. He's prolonging the game in this position where he's really at a pretty good advantage right now. And it's all because of these mutas that just can't go punish. There's no way for Corsairs to simply come in there and drive them out. And so it's all about trying to position against them. And of course, the mutas are just so fast. It's so easy to run away. Does he actually see this army that he chased away to the corner? He could end up killing that, but I guess he thinks it's all the way in the top right instead of the top left.
That is a lot of Hydras kind of out of position. What I want to see from Stork here is just make like a few more High Templars, make your army a little bit bigger. And I think he actually has real potential because we haven't seen one Lurker Egg. So it's like really mass Hydra. It's so many Hydras, but if you have like 8, 10 storms on this, the Hydras are going to melt. And I could see Stork actually finding a window here to kill some bases.
Yeah, if Stork can drag this out. Oh, the Templar. Perfect. Baits out the storm and gets the kill on that. Can he actually run up here and take this out? This is a pretty uncomfortable spot to try to push up into.
I don't think so. That many Zealots coming up. The cannons are actually really well placed there as well. That is a lot of Hydras and a lot of Hydras at home. Larva's army is gigantic. And in fact, he's going to be maxed like very shortly here on layer tech with no lurkers. It's like a funny way. Oh, okay, the first lurkers have just popped out. I was going to say, that's like, I don't think I've ever seen anyone max out on Hydra Muta.
I think there's a point where eventually you just will get the lurkers. I mean, he kind of stayed ready to try to snipe Templars the whole game, and yeah, eventually you're maxed out, start making lurkers, and you know, I think this is going to go right into somewhat of a contain. It's really hard for Protoss to push up versus lurkers onto these rolling hills that you have. And so now, you know, Protoss basically can't get a 4th base. And, you know, even though Larva's playing a very tight game, I think this is going to be really tough here for Stork. You know, he's good. If he can break the lurker contain, maybe he can do some kind of a longer push. I'm not so sure.
Well, he's pushing in. He's trying to break through this very small lurker contain so far. More and more Hydras come out onto the map. It's just, how many High Templars does he actually have now? Because a lot of storms got thrown out there. Definitely some High Templars got picked off by those Mutalisks as well. Looks like he has about 4 with the main army. But he needs to get something done. Like, he needs to get that 3rd base up. And I feel like he needs to also put some pressure onto Larva. You can't just let Larva do whatever he wants the entire game.
Well, Larva has done a really good job of just attacking with a couple Hydras over and over. There's been a lot of moments he hasn't hit with his whole army. He just has some stuff up in the front, and he's kind of waiting for a storm to come out and then just run back away. And if he can do this long enough over time, the storms are going to be gone. And like the Hydras, I mean, we got some storms coming down. He's going to go right in here to a dive and just obliterate these Dragoons. Oof. And, you know, there's a point where, like, yeah, I mean, Storm counters Hydras, but if you have so many and the Zerg is so fast, is it possible to just kind of push through? Now, on some level, I'm getting a little bit worried here for Larva because it feels like Stork is barely holding this off, and a lot of times that's all the Protoss needs.
Well, as Napoleon said, quantity has a quality all its own. That many Hydras just eating through the Psy Storms was pretty impressive. But look at that. He's got 5 High Templars with good energy amounts. I think that the way that Larva should end up playing this, though, is just starting to spread lurkers out. Oh, wow, he actually unmorphs there? This is actually an okay opportunity. If it's only Hydras, I'm not that worried for Stork because he can eventually cut through them with the storms. But like you were saying, with the lurkers, like if you put them on high ground and everything, very difficult to break through for Protoss.
Yeah. You know, it also, if Protoss tries to go up and tries to go around all this, the counterattack from the Zerg could be really scary too. We just now are getting probes sent over here to mine in that other location. Larva is still playing this really kind of explosive battle game. I will say Stork has, in some sense, weathered the storm. He's got his 4th base up. he's got Zealots moving around on the map. If he can get these Zealots to pop this hatchery at the top right, that kind of restricts Larva to just this bottom right third.
That would be really nice if he can force a cancel. I'm not sure he'll be able to. A lot of Hydras are getting up there right now. Now, trying to break through some of these lurkers. If he can kill these lurkers and maybe go to the south here and kill this base, I definitely still see him fighting in the game, but his supply is getting kind of low, and you can see these massive flanks getting set up.
More Psy Storms are coming down, and the patience is really showing here from Stork. A lot of times, all you have to do is just keep blanketing the area with storms, and then you back up. Remake your army, hit with storms, back up. You never have to try to push yourself through this. Now, if the game goes on for too long and you never do that, yeah, I mean, eventually the Zerg is going to have the whole map. But as long as you're trading effectively, and it's a lot harder in some ways for the Zerg in these moments because the storm damages everything, right? And it's pretty easy with Dragoons with range and a couple of Zealots to protect the Templars. Like, those two are going to get away. It's going to be an Archon. You're just getting value. You're getting kills on Hydras every time this comes out.
Well, more Storms, more Archons coming down here for Stork. He's doing a great job maintaining that level. And now a DT actually hitting this 6th base. This is really, really important. If he can kill this hatchery, that's a big step in the right direction for Stork.
Is there an Overlord coming here?
There must be.
Oh, nice job killing the...
He's going to get it, though. He's going to get it.
Hatchery's going to go down.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. Those Zealots were really worth it earlier, I guess. Some more Storms out here. I love this kind of like baiting in, just getting as many Storms as he can, reducing the count of Hydras. If he can kill that like 6 o'clock base, does he take the lead?
Yeah, I would say so. By the way, sorry for the sound. I don't know if you guys are accidentally hit my microphone by mistake. The surrounds are just starting to look weaker and weaker here for Larva. Like, Patience has... Well, hold on a second. I mean, this Hydra surround is looking actually pretty insane. I thought that Stork might have just barely had enough, but it seems like as I finished that thought, he sort of does. Again, all you need to do is keep making, 4 Templars, maybe 6 Templars. Keep regrouping the Zealots, the Dragoons, enough Observers, make the Archons when the Storms have been cast, and this army will beat Hydras.
And that's exactly what it's doing. He's grinding a lot of Hydras down here.
It's very micro-intensive, but, this does, over time, favor the Protoss as long as the Storms are good. As long as you're forcing them to micro away, the Dragoons are doing full damage shots to everything as they retreat. By the way, we don't have Lurkers, really, anymore in these fights. Like, there was a period where we would have, like, 5 or 6 moving out with this.
Well, that allows him to utilize these Zealots a little bit better, which is nice, because he does have that mineral-only base. And Larva, he's had pretty high drone saturation. He's mined out of his main natural and 3rd base pretty quickly. Like, there's still a few patches, but it's getting low. Stork, of course, only on 2 bases at the moment, so he definitely has to do a little bit more. But he is sending some units here to the 5th base and the 6th base.
Yeah. We need another base for Protoss eventually here. You can be on 4 bases and go into late game, but you will start to dry up. Both the main and the natural have been completely mined out, which means you have all your probes swapped onto those 2 new bases. Zerg doesn't have to have the whole map and dominate to win here. They just have to keep the Protoss abreast. They can stay toe-to-toe just like this until the resources mine out. I know we're a ways away from that. The Zealot counterattack that went around killed the hatchery, but I'm seeing probes get driven away from here, Tastosis.
And I just saw like 4 High Templars fall. So that's actually in a lot of ways even more important, I feel like. You just have to maintain High Templars. And to lose 4 or 5 there is going to make it a lot harder for him to continually storm these incoming Hydras. But the supply for both players is plummeting.
So the Hydras are continuing to advance. You got to be careful when you send these Templars out. You have to make sure they actually have storms. It's very easy to just send one right out of a gateway and it just gets shot down.
Yeah.
At like 65 mana or something. So he kills the Nexus. Of course, it's a bit of an eye for an eye situation here because Stork also killed the hatchery in the top right. So, I mean, this is a really, really close game right now.
It still feels to me like Larva has the advantage, but he is getting lower and lower. It's just this army for Stork looks a lot weaker than what he's been playing with. Like, we see one High Templar in here. Obviously, he has really good upgrades, +3 armor, +2 attack, but there's 2/2 on these Hydras as well.
Yeah, that's true. The Hydras and Lurkers are very strong right now. This mineral-only base is going to mine out. That's going to basically mean that Zerg only has 6 o'clock. You know what I'd love to see? I don't know if he has the funds to do it. Just some kind of a drop at 6. When you're this close to the main, a lot of times you can basically just get in there. High Templar, Dark Templar, even like 4 Zealots can be good.
Well, he's pushed back right now. Got to bring that Observer up maybe. But this row of Lurkers, I think, is going to be almost impossible to clear out. He is long-distance mining from that mineral base now. DT trying to slip in. I love that he's still trying to slip these DTs in to get a bit of damage, but unfortunately that doesn't work either.
Also, just the fact that this third Nexus hasn't been remade, it kind of simplifies how dire this is for Stork. And as Stork is slowing down more and more, you can feel that Larva, he's really picking up momentum. He's basically reclaimed the top right base, and there's no way for him to come back here and try to hit that. Larva is now setting up a situation where he could hit from both sides. I think, to his surprise, there is still no Nexus here. Probably thought he could come in here and sandwich this pretty nicely. And I think we're going to see, like, pretty much a 360-degree attack from the Zerg.
Well, he's storming it
maybe
pretty,
not. I
pretty darn well there.
Right, guys.
But
I
look
thought that made a lot more sense.
Larva is up 50 supply, though. I've never seen Protoss win from a position like this. If Stork does it, this will be the first time I've seen it in so many years. But throwing down some more storms. Look at this. The Lurkers just run up and surround everything. He gets a really good side storm down, but loses a lot of his Dragoons there to the first volley.
He's going to try to come in again. Big Lurker burrow. Remember, I mean, if this base can't get made and set up, there's just going to be no way for Protoss to play in the game because they're going to be out of resources. So the Nexus is going to go down. I think this is probably it.
Wow.
Yeah. GG.
What a game. That was a great game there between those two. Larva just squeezing it out. It felt like he was in the lead the whole game, but Stork just kind of kept his cool and made it really close.
He looked really good. So did Larva. Yeah, that was a really nice, close PVZ. You know, I wonder, had he had the 4 Templars hidden a little bit better, I think he might have been able to just keep the defenses up. He basically needed to just have his 4th base around for the game to go on. Doesn't mean he would have won, but when he lost that 4th base, it was just such a shutdown in the income.
So true.
It's too expensive to both be making an army and make that 4th Nexus.
So true. So true. That really is where Larva was able to take it. I was surprised how many times Stork sent out little harassment squads and was messing with those top bases, but great job from him there. And that means we're going to have Larva going up against Sharp. Sharp is a 2-time ASL finalist, Larva an ASL champion. I got to tell you, like, looking at the game so far today, I do feel like Sharp is going to be advantaged.
I think you're probably right. I think he does look like the strongest player today. Guys, we're going to take this short little break right... No, we're not going to take it right now. We're going to get a couple more shots of the audience. The break is coming. Mark my words. See? I wouldn't lie to you guys. We'll be right back.
Made for the best. Made for who you can be. For esports pros, any miss can mean defeat. That's why the Death Adder V4 Pro has everything lined up. A fast, ergonomic design. A quantum leap in speed. Optical tracking for pixel-perfect scrolling. And a sensor more precise and intelligent than any other. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time to go to the winner's match. Our first survivor in all of the round of 24 is going to be decided in just a little bit here. And I think this is going to be a fun one. What about you, Artosis?
Yeah. I think it's obviously going to be a really fun one. These are two very exciting players. Just based on the games that we've already seen, it definitely feels to me like Sharp is a lock to get out of this group. He looked ridiculously good against Ample, who we know is in very good shape. And Larva did look good against Stork overall, but it wasn't like super convincing, you know? Like I think if oh my God, are we actually going to play Roaring Currents? That's
I didn't realize.
Insane.
We've been. I didn't realize we'd go to this map for this phase.
I had no idea.
Oh, that's crazy. So then we're going to have a lot of crazy games in the round of 24.
Yeah. So
we were talking earlier about how this is a map we probably wouldn't see until later on because everyone's going to veto it.
Yeah.
And I guess Soup just kind of forced it in.
I love it. I'm glad that they did. But this is the most crazy map. So the things they just circled are all islands. Islands. Literally islands. That's crazy because we normally don't have that many islands. And generally, islands don't fare as well for Zerg players. On your side of the map, first off, the rush distance is super long. You have a ramped natural, okay? So the ramped natural makes things like Nexus first, like super, super strong, makes it hard to attack. You also have a quadrant of 4 bases on your side of the bridge, but the 2 bases that are in front of your natural have reduced resources, just to keep that in mind.
Right.
So you can 4 base almost instantly as Terran, right? Like that's, or like I guess other races as well a little bit, but yeah, this map, it feels to me like they made this map to make sure that Sulky doesn't win ASL. That was kind of my take when I first saw him. Like, I can't imagine Zerg beating Protoss here. I can't imagine Terran beating Protoss here. And I like Zerg beating Terran, it's like possible, but I'm like, I think it's going to be Terran favored.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I'm not really sure PvZ island maps, like I guess what we call like a semi-island map, where it's like half the map is islands, the other half. I mean, this is actually kind of the first of its kind, right? Cluster islands in the bottom right.
Yeah, we haven't had one like this
left.
in ASL. We've never had one like this. I can't remember one like this ever in a Star League.
I think you are correct in that this is probably something that I think Sulky can't win on, or at least if he can, it's going to be very interesting.
Yeah.
All right, man, let's get into it. I had no idea we were going to get into this map this fast. This is going to be so exciting.
Okay, yeah, so anyway, sorry, Larva in the bottom left and Sharp in the top right. I have so much to say about the map that I just want to sit here and talk about it forever because it's like such an insane map design. I do want to give props to the ASL team for making them play this because I think our assessment is right that we just wouldn't see this map till the end, till best of 7s, because everyone would just veto it, except maybe in mirror matchups. And so it's great that we're going to force everyone to play on it, but like, I actually think, Tasteless, that this will go down in history as one of the most imbalanced maps ever.
I don't know, man. I think that it's not. I mean, let's see. Okay, but I mean, it definitely comes with its issues. I do feel like we've had, in some ways, I like the fact that there is this kind of, there's a couple normal features on the map, like in the layout. And then there are also islands. You know, a lot of the early island maps, if we go way far back, for those of you guys who are like pre-2000s playing StarCraft, maps like Dire Straits, which was basically a map in the ocean speckled with islands.
Yes.
And that was what a lot of island maps looked like. And, you know, I don't, first of all, nobody would have known or could have ever known that this would have ended up being the most complicated competitive game of all time, right? So Blizzard's just like throwing together a couple cool ideas for maps. And they did a great job, by the way, back then, for having a ton of very interesting ideas for maps laid out. Excuse me. But then, you know, we realized pretty quickly this just kind of comes with fundamental problems, specifically for Zerg, where they can't get a base. Then you had a map like Sparkle in the modern era. And that was like, okay, well, you're on these bigger islands with bases. That turned out to be too good for Zerg. I'm actually skipping a step here because you also had maps like Estrella, excuse me, and Neo Hala Valhalla, which is where you started out on an island, but then you'd get onto land, and everything outside of your island was connected. So what I like about this is there's, about 70% of the map is this big land bridge that's connected, but then you have a cluster of islands in the bottom right and a solo island in the top left. And I just want to see where this goes because in some ways it gives each of the races at least access to island play.
Yes.
Like remote island play, I should say. Not like, Sparkle where there's like 4 big islands basically. But it gives you access to turtling and hiding on islands. But at the same time, there's a land game that has to be addressed in a at least somewhat normal StarCraft 1 fashion. Like, you could be proxied here, right?
Yes.
You could have your gas stolen here. You could end up with a Hydra bus that would kill, the Protoss players. So it's like we have the opportunity for island games once you get through the complexity of the early game and the mid game here. Now, that being said, I also think that once somebody starts to get control of islands here, it's going to get pretty heavy-handed.
Well, I do want to just fight back on one thing. I think most of what you said there was right, but because you have a high ground natural, going for a bust, like a Hydra bust, is going to be super weak, and like... You're
totally correct.
We've seen in the past.
You're totally correct.
Yeah, like for instance, in Terran vs. Protoss, you will not be able to break a Nexus first. It is literally impossible. It's the furthest rush distance of any map. It's further than any map cross spawn even, and it's a ramped natural, which already makes it so you can't do it. So it's like, I do think this will be the most imbalanced map ever. But yeah, I mean, we're going to see because they're going to force a lot of games on the map, which I really appreciate.
It's funny because I think for a lot of people watching, they might look at this and go like, well, why don't they want to play on island? This map, this looks so fun. The games are great. And it's that these guys have played so much on maps that are somewhat what they're used to. And maps like this are basically as far away from that a bad player feels like, oh, I don't know if I'm ever going to beat a good player on a map like this. There's too much to understand. A good player is maybe afraid of some kind of weird cheese they haven't thought of that a bad player would come up with. So a lot of times both sides would prefer to just be on something they've played, tens of thousands of games on.
Yes, that is a fact. So, it looks like here it's like a 1-1-1 build out of Sharp that's a really, really fast starport. He's going to open with a Wraith and maybe get a few Overlords, get a bit of scouting going as well. Not a terrible idea to just tech up really quickly. If the game goes long, obviously flying tech is going to be incredibly important. Larva's just playing a very straightforward game, which I think is the right way to play it. You're never going to be able to cheese Terran out on this map. Like, what possibly could you do cheese-wise? It doesn't... nothing comes to mind. You're just going to have to play a normal game and hopefully, like, break him with the mutas or, like, hit a push with Dark Swarm or something. I don't know. But, ooh! Wow, that's surprising. But, yeah, almost loses that Vulture there. And the Wraith is actually doing a reasonable job.
He should be able to kill this Overlord and get out just in time. So nicely done. He saw the second gas. He will come in here and get a confirm. Is he going to try to get a third Overlord? Can you get away with this?
I think he's right. I think he just barely gets it. Yeah, because I think he recognized...
Do you lose the Wraith?
It was a supply block. No, he'll get out with the Wraith, maybe? Oh! Well, not if you fly directly through the Scourge. Normally, there's a little bit of micro you can do and sometimes get away there, but... all right, good catch at least, but he kills 3 Overlords, which I'm sure he's happy with.
I mean, killing 3 Overlords is great, right? I mean, normally you would expect to at least lose 1, with that Overlord that's going to be out on the periphery of their base. And this is going to be really quick irradiate. Kind of a fun way to tech up here. You're basically circumventing, you're speed running your way to getting irradiate out as fast as possible, which is going to be really punishing if somebody goes for mutas.
Well, as long as you keep those vessels alive, like you get 2 vessels out with irradiate, and you're in really good shape with a build like this. But Larva at least does scout that with the Scourge. He sees the science facility, so that's nice. And look at how quick he has for the evolution chamber. I'm not surprised to see this. Anytime you have a map that's like, oh, this might be difficult, Crazy Zerg is a good way to play it against Terran. It's like Crazy Zerg will... it's kind of a robust strategy. When we look at, why would this be maybe difficult for Zerg right? Like, normally we're thinking about their more normal tech routes, whereas Crazy Zerg doesn't care what the map looks like.
So he makes 2 mutas. I feel like if you just show these 2, it's so obvious you're not going to commit here.
Yeah.
But I guess you want to try to scout whatever you can. I mean, 2 is never the number, right? It's like just like 1's never the number. I guess in some ways 1 would be the number even more so than 2 could ever be. If it's like, well, there's like a dropship stuck somewhere I can't get, but I can kill it. Anyways, the Crazy Zerg style, which is basically tech into Hive, get ultras and crack lanes. I kind of like this because it could also make drops very strong on the islands. So I think in some ways it's a great way to just kind of approach the map.
Yeah.
Because, you know, Zergs, I mean, lurker drops are like okay on island maps, but if the Terran's ready for them, like you're basically never scared of lurkers if you have a small number of units that are ready for them.
Yeah.
But if you have like Overlord speed and you have, 8 Zerglings in one Overlord and 8 in another one, you can drop and do crazy amount of damage with the Adrenal upgrade.
One thing I have to mention is we saw a Hydralisk Den. I don't know if he's going to go Lurkers, but I think he might because he basically has skipped Mutas, which I think it's a reaction to the Vessels. But like as soon as you mix Lurkers in, it isn't exactly Crazy Zerg. The crazy part of Zerg is skipping Lurkers and Defilers. But you can go fast carapace upgrades with Lurker into Ultra, which is like, it's very similar, right? So this will, I mean, oh my gosh, he's already dropping islands. This will either be a Hydra Lurker Defiler play, or this will be Lurker into Ultra play, is my guess.
Yeah, well, let's see. I mean, there's a big attack coming up here now. I don't see anything defending the space. This base is basically totally undefended, which is kind of crazy. Like, why would you even take that base at all if you can't, keep it around? But, the Zerg's going to take 2 other bases, and I think it's going to be extremely hard for Sharp to get over there. If Sharp doesn't switch into some kind of drop play pretty quickly, Zerg's going to have 4 bases that you just can't attack, because there's no way to attack this natural.
It's pretty invincible right now. Like, you actually need, like, a nuke or something to blow that up. Yeah, this is already so exciting, man. Like, very different strategies. I love that Larva just gives that up and says, screw it, it's fine. I'm taking these other bases. I want to see if he's actually going to be going for any Hydras or Lurkers here, or is this just going to be straight into Crazy Zerg and, like, utilizing Niduses? I'm not sure.
The more I look at this, the more I like this map for Zerg.
Yeah?
It just feels like, at least with the approach that Larva has, that this is like pretty good. I didn't actually appreciate how many rocks are on that base that Larva takes close to the center.
Yeah.
Not a lot of room for spores and sunks.
Well, I think that's really important. Otherwise, like, if you just fill it with cannons or spores or missile turrets, it becomes like basically impossible to ever hit. Like it's like, I guess if you have a lot of carriers, you could break it, or I guess if you have a lot of Yamato, you could break it, or Guardians, but like, you don't want it like that. You want it so that there's actually the potential for engagement. So I do like that they've made it difficult in that way. And yeah, I mean, looking at how this game is being played, it does look like it's maybe going towards Larva's favor. Oh, I love this idea.
So sick.
Okay, well, Larva wrecks that idea, but that was a great idea.
I've never quite seen that used like that. That's actually so interesting.
Yeah.
So he can do the eraser. This is where you have a radiant on the vessels, and like it almost seems like Larva kind of forgot this was like a factor. This is a really old, for me in my mind, like the most iconic thing you could do in Brood War. I remember when I was finally learning about this game, and I'm like, this game's crazy, man. He killed off a decent number of drones. I don't know how worth it was because he lost the vessels.
He microed that really poorly. I'll be completely honest here. He microed that like crap. Like that. He must have gone back to macro, because if you paid attention there as a Terran player, you kill almost every drone easily in that position. So that was definitely a blunder there from him.
So he's taking the 3rd base. Remember that all the bases on land, well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say all. The 2 that are further out of your base, so, not your main, not your natural, but everything else, are pretty sparse for the resources.
Oh, dude, there's ledges above these islands. I'm sorry.
Tastosis, I didn't realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that you could actually put stuff up there like that. I always looked at this and I thought, can one island hit the other island? Was what I looked at. And I didn't appreciate, oh, there's these ways to punish this. And I guess on a map like this where the rocks are spread in such a way it's hard to defend these corners, suddenly drops are a lot stronger on here.
For sure.
Oh my God,
this
medic
is
god
this is
here.
awesome to see. And yeah, just having the ledges, that's actually counterplay for Terran. Because Terran never actually makes big, strong air armies. That's not really a thing. You know, you'll see battlecruisers sometimes or like weird Wraith builds, but like as you approach the later game, like Terran air just generally isn't the way to go. So I do like the counterplay of like maybe we'll actually see. Remember this phrase, the turbo newbie? Like tanks on a ledge over a base, basically. Like
Turbo noob, man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was all of Lost Temple was just like, all right. And then there would be the Zerg doing the same thing where they make hatcheries on the ledge.
Yeah.
It was just like people
So
making stuff on
stupid.
each other's high ground.
But very, very cool to see. This is already playing out so weirdly. I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird seeing Sharp do some of these drops. Like, I feel like when you drop 1 or 2 medevacs onto 1 or 2 ultras, it's like this is just never going to work. But he's still going for it anyways.
I am like blown away here. This is so funny because Sharp was up over 100 supply and Larva was on like about 65 for a really long time, and the entire time you and I are like, he's winning. Like the 65 supply guy's
Yeah.
winning, and I think that our assessment is basically correct there. I am like, he's sitting here on 4 gases right now. Now the gases on the islands are not full 5,000 gas geysers. Just to put that out there. Ooh, battle cruisers. But, like, his resource count is really high, and there's still not a great way for Sharp to break anything.
Yeah, it's got to be a weird feeling for the Terran because it feels like there's no target that's going to work. You know, there's no target that's desirable to hit. You know, a lot of times in a game of Brood War, you'll look at one side of the map and go, okay, well, I can't attack in here, but maybe I could, like, you know, go to the other side of the map or put pressure over here. But it's like, I don't think Zerg's going to be trying to take these out, exterior bases for a while. I guess one way to look at it, too, is Terran could take a third base, which is what he's going to do here, and just try to expand himself. You know, we talked about in games where one side's really entrenched, sometimes the answer to how to deal with that base is to not deal with it. Maybe this becomes a lot more of a withdrawn game on both sides where they're just going to try to scramble for bases and turtle up.
Another thing to mention here, and this is going to sound like pretty stupid, but like I could see, like, let's say we played this game, this map a lot in this matchup, okay? There is a huge amount of like just dead airspace in the bottom right. Like, if you actually did build up to like a really sick Terran air army, I could see you going for a stalemate in bottom right. Like, if you have like 12 330 Valkyries, you have some science vessels and like 12 battle cruisers, there isn't a Zerg army that can break that in just air. No matter how many Scourge Devourers and mutas you make, you would never ever break something like that. The problem is when you get Plague involved, right? So like right now we see Sharp, he's taking all these bases and everything, but Larva's safe. Like, he's kind of just played a very defensive game, and eventually Defilers will come out. And Defilers are like kind of the counter to everything in the late game.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, you would have to have everything mined out, I think, for that to work. I love this drop, by the way. Now, oh my god, but with the irradiates, I mean, assuming those are all full, this is going to be devastating.
I wonder. It could have been a fake. Let's see if he unloads. That was a fake,
yeah,
I think.
We didn't have anything in the... Yeah.
Oh, maybe not. Yeah, no, it wasn't a fake, I guess. So yeah, that was very, very good irradiates. Now the 2 BCs in here. The Scourge... Oh, the Scourge have +1 armor? I think he might have +1 air armor. Because, yeah, you need +1 battlecruiser attack to stop Scourge air upgrades. So definitely something Sharp needs to get if he wants to continue on BCs.
So this island base is going to go down. That's important because Terran needs more expansions. you can already see that, like, first of all, like Zerg, like Terran's never going to expand onto the Zerg's land side of the map. I don't think so, at least. I mean, if we do, I would welcome it.
Yeah.
Nobody's taken the top left, but it feels like it's a tough one for Zerg to control. The drop ships are a bit faster. But maybe Larva makes a jump to go over there. But yeah, we're going to run out of bases pretty quickly.
Yeah. I'm kind of blown away by the way this game is looking so far. It's so cool. This Mass Scourge is such a good counter when they have +1 carapace against the +0 BC. As soon as BCs get +1 attack, even +3 carapace or Scourge don't do anything against them. So it's like a very important upgrade. But the Mass Ultra drops not really working out for Larva as of yet. Well, then he drops on top of the army. Never really seen that either. That is a lot of Ultras
dropping on Marines.
Holy crap.
I mean, it's a lot, but this is also a lot of Marines, man. You know, the Ultras, they kind of bump into each other. You really want to have, like, surrounds. It's actually why you want to have Cracklings with this, is because the Cracklings deal so much extra damage. Okay, so he cleans up.
Yeah, it looks that way. Nothing really left over. The Medic's going to try to get out. Not really a lot left for Sharp. He continues to make BCs. Still, I don't know if he's getting +1. I hope he is. But Larva's supply is really starting to shoot up here. He's almost caught up in supply, which is never good for this matchup for Terran. I think that Sharp's misread when he saw the Overlords, I think he just thought there wasn't much of an army, so he decided to push out. And instead, Larva just had so much here that I think this actually could be the game. Like, he might just hit this bottom base here. Terran's going to mine out at his natural, like, really soon. So, I mean, how much does he actually have that he can support this with? Even the third base is almost mined out, by the way. There's actually, like, nowhere for Terran to go. This is rough. Yeah, I think he's almost dead because Larva's just making mass hatcheries now. He's expanding everywhere.
Yeah.
There's, like, yeah, he's got these BCs. He's got some vessels left and everything. He's got the command centers and good upgrades on his Marines, but when you have these highly upgraded Ultras, it becomes very difficult to deal with. And the thing is, even if he deals with this, let's say that he kills everything off and he stabilizes his position, you research everything for Defilers. And this army doesn't
counter that. Does the Radiate hurt SCVs?
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Does the
Yes.
Radiate hurt SCVs? It does.
Sure does.
Okay.
Sure does.
I thought for a second it wasn't damaging it, and I'm like, no way. But I guess the Ultra wasn't quite close enough in the instance I saw. I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they're the only
So,
unit that's
yeah.
like both biological and mechanical.
Yeah, it can be healed and can be repaired, right? So
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Can be
Well, I mean,
maelstrommed
look-
and can be locked down.
That's actually crazy. I hadn't even thought of those abilities when it comes to an SCV. So
Oof.
I think Sharp's going to be out.
Yeah.
I mean, not only is he not able to do anything to any of the bases that Larva has, but he's about to dry up on resources because truly the islands are very, very important to seize early on a map like this.
Yeah.
And so far, I got to say, I feel like Larva's shown us that Zerg is viable. I think he picked the exact right approach to this map.
I think my read on this matchup was maybe wrong there. It's just like he actually had such a good plan of playing Crazy Zerg as opposed to some sort of Defiler-based play. Because it like saves you a bunch of gas, you can get to the islands quickly. The high ground with Sunkens is impossible to break with Bio. Really smart stuff. GG. And Larva wins his group, man, against a very in-shape Sharp. Really well done. You can see how happy he is with that.
Well, I mean, he's had time where he's really focused on this, time where he's back, and I think this is a group that looked really tough.
Yeah.
He's got to be thrilled that he's just going to move out of this first. I mean, that's incredible.
Very well done. Very well done. I'm so excited to see more on that map and learn more about it. And I guess we're going to have a TVP on it next. But, of course, Larva going to get a little winner's interview coming up here. That's a big result, man, to be the first person into the round of 16 after you're basically retired for quite some time. It's not that he wasn't playing StarCraft. He hasn't competed since his victory in ASL, which was years ago. Years ago. It was like
so
4
cool
years
to have him
ago,
back.
right? If I'm remembering correctly, it was 4 years ago that he won ASL, and he's like, no one leaves
I think it might
StarCraft
be
forever,
5.
but
Might have been 5.
it was like Sulky was the
it's hard
last
to
2
say.
years, and then it was Royal and JYJ before that. I think it was Larva before that, if I remember right, but I could be off.
Impressive if you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's cool to have him back. This is such a timeless game, you know. The good players can take time off, they can come back, and the game's still here ready for them. The meta's always staying interesting. So this moment that we saw here, this is where I think Sharp just didn't have a good read. I think he cannot be blamed for this. I think you'd look at this and go, oh, there's 4 times the number of ultras here. He's literally dropping on my Marines, which doesn't even really make sense.
Yeah.
But, I mean, how would you know? How would you know those are full? Right? Like, I think most players would look at this and think, well, he would have already unloaded this because it's so risky to drop Marines. By the way, not like a strategy he planned. It's not like he was like, oh, I'm going to drop on him. He just saw this and went, oh, I can probably kind of send these ultras in. They'll be auto-targeted, and then I can drop on top of here. And the surface area was insane. And then from here, Sharp just doesn't have anything to control the ground. Zerg maybe can't push into, like, the main, but all these peripheral bases are just going to get punished and killed. And with the army being whittled down by that much, there's also no way to reclaim the islands. The battle cruisers aren't high enough in number to really do anything. So kind of a weird way for the game to end. Probably one of the only ASL games we'll have that kind of looks like that, which is just sort of a disappointing attack from the Terran where the Ultras killed everything.
Yeah.
Into a victory there for the Zerg. Again, welcoming this new map. Very interested in seeing how it's going to play out as the season continues on. We got that interview ready for you with Larva. Any minute now.
ASL Season20.
And that was the long-awaited opening match of the round of 24 of ASL Season 20, as we have our first player through to the round of 16. It's Larva. Congratulations. Thank you. You are the first player advancing through today. How do you feel? With my family here and our YB clan students, I knew that it wouldn't do for me to lose. I prepared all throughout the night. I would play for over 16 hours a day in preparation for my return. And it culminated in this good result. A fitting reward for all the prep work you put in. Was there anything in particular you were on the lookout for when practicing for today? With these games being best of 1, I knew I absolutely had to win the first match against Stork. I knew that a loss in that match would likely mean elimination. I think 99% of my prep went into that first match. Oh, I see. By the way, there's something I've been meaning to ask you. What was that hairdryer about? Was there an actual practical reason behind it, or were you clowning around? I did the same for those finals I won. I was determined to win. You see, when my hands get sweaty, the mouse movements feel off, and it gets the mousepad wet. I use the hairdryer to make sure that doesn't happen. I didn't mean to make anyone laugh. Take it as me being determined to win. Well, it clearly did the trick. You really got people excited with that first game. The way you moved your Hydra Lurker, dodging storms, was a sight to behold. You took control of the map and closed the game out with a victory. Is this your preferred way to play ZVP? Last I played, Zergs would prefer to macro after going to Hive, so I have quite a lot of confidence going into late game. Anyway, I just came back and everyone is playing Lair. And also Protoss are getting good at eco games, playing optimized. I was looking to go into Hive, but I got put behind, so I chose to end the game on Lair Tech instead. Even in the pre-game interview, it became apparent just how much you prepared. And in your second game, Roaring Currents debuted as a map in ASL. How did you practice versus Terran? I didn't even play one game. What? Yeah, for real. Oh, actually, I watched some streams 2 weeks ago and played with Royal, maybe just 1 or 2 games. But I ran simulations in my head. The games just went well. Are you satisfied with how these simulations played out under real conditions today? I think they worked out well. My opponent was gearing up for ground-based expansions, so he had to play an optimized game, whereas that was not my intention in the first place. I think I fooled him well. It became apparent that you had something special prepared for today sometime in the early game of the second match, whereas your 9 o'clock got denied, you opted for island expansions. What was the reason behind this approach to macro? Roaring Currents has a long rush distance either way, but there is only one avenue of approach. By going for island expansions, I could break that apart a little, and thus also weaken the Terran's ground army, so that I could barely take engagements. I thought that this approach would increase my chances of winning. Solid choice. So that makes you the first player to advance to the round of 16. What can we expect to see from you in that round of 16? However you look at it, making the decision to try and compete in tournaments right after coming back to playing is not an easy decision to make, because people have expectations for you. I wanted to fulfill these expectations. I perhaps got a little hasty, which is, it gets me a little worried. But first things first, I made it through. I'll rest, I'll recharge, I'll fix some of my shortcomings to make sure I can deliver an even better performance in the round of 16. Looking forward to seeing that performance in the round of 16. There were lots of fans supporting you today. Your family are in attendance too. Please address the fans first. Goes without saying that I'm ever so thankful to the fans for showing up, and when it comes to YB, C gave me a lot of leeway when I needed to practice for this. I could focus, so thanks for that. Also, thanks to our YB students who are here. You know, I had to focus on my own games, and I didn't have time to help them with their own matches. And the fact they didn't mind, on top of them coming here to support me, was the reason I could achieve victory. And lastly, Jaime is here. I'm happy she could see... I'm happy she could see her father do well on stage. Did you get a peck on the cheek? Yes, I did. And on that wholesome note, we close our interview with Larva after his victory as he moves on to the round of 16 as our first player. We have 3 more left, and only 1 will stay alive. Who will get that second place ticket to the round of 16? We'll take a short break and return for the losers match.
Made for the best. Made for who you can be. For esports pros, any miss can mean defeat. That's why the Death Adder V4 Pro has everything lined up. A fast ergonomic design, a quantum leap in speed, optical tracking for pixel-perfect scrolling, and a sensor more precise and intelligent than any other. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
The challenge, I don't care for balance, I'm all in whatever I do. 150, they can't keep up with me, no talking, I show and improve. On another level, I never can settle, so why would I stop, I just move. Let's take it all the way, we work for this every day. I don't play games, boy, look me in the face. Coming for the throne, take the king's place. Pedal to the floor, no L's in the race. If you win front, I excel in the chase. Set pace on them, no they never like me, that's their problem. But they have to respect when we coming from the bottom. What I wanna be ain't coming now, we got the roof down in the foreign. I'm running straight to the bag, I'm flying no in this flag. You could've called this a brag, blood, sweat and tears ain't no cap. I'm running straight to the bag, I'm flying no in this flag. You could've called this a brag, blood, sweat and tears ain't no cap. I love love the challenge, I don't care for balance, I'm all in whatever I do. 150, they can't keep up with me, no talking, I show and improve. Whole nother level, I never can settle, so why would I stop, I just move. Let's take it all the way, we work for this every day. I've been on job, doing my thing, right outside, but I ain't on the wing. Circle tight like a bad with it.
Welcome back, everybody. ASL continues on here. We're going back to that map.
Actually, I just saw at the bottom that it got vetoed. So they're giving them 3 choices, and it's getting vetoed.
Oh.
So it's Litmus,
Okay.
Roaring Waters, or whatever we're calling that, and then something else that we're about to play. So that's unfortunate.
That's so funny.
I'm
Sorry,
surprised
guys,
that it got through before. Oh, Knockout's the other map. So this is the Circuit Breakers remake.
Okay, let's get on this. Yeah, we always try to avoid. We always literally avoid any spoilers. So we're kind of going and doing this. We're raw dogging this cast just like we would in the old days. But then what happens is that we don't have a producer, right? So we're not informed of format changes or stuff like that. But this is actually a welcome change then, because I've been very curious about this map. If you don't remember Circuit Breakers, this was a huge map in the early kind of macro era of StarCraft Brood War, where they started to make these maps that were less about winding paths and islands and stuff like that, and they kind of sanded them down to these very basic formations. And so now with maps like Knockout, we have these ideas reintroduced, but with a lot of the geography changed on it to maybe make it a little bit more spicy, a little bit more interesting.
Dude, I'm loving it. Like, you see all these circles that we're seeing in the center of the map. These are really interesting pathways that Circuit Breakers didn't have before. It makes the game so much more dynamic. You can't just stand in 2 places and block all unit movement anymore. It's really fantastic. And the biggest change is that little divot in front of your natural. That little divot, I think, is a huge buff to Protoss vs. Zerg, because you basically can't Hydra bust anymore. That is a little low ground divot. So if you try something, some sort of a bust, you're going to be missing a huge amount of shots because of that low ground. So I think that makes fast expanding a bit stronger as long as you place your buildings correctly. And so far I love Knockout. I think it's super interesting. I've had unbelievably fun and dynamic games on the map so far.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to see these guys duke it out here. I think, if this goes back to kind of a macro map, this should just be an overall good, interesting game here. Stork did look to be in great shape today. Some seasons he looks shaky. He always qualifies, but doesn't quite make it. We know from what Tastosis said, Ample's really kind of built out his play style, looking really strong, but one of these guys has to get knocked out. So this is do or die here between these two. Okay, in the top left here is Ample, sharing his side of the map, and the bottom is Stork.
So one thing I want to mention here is I think, like I said, by far the best strategy here is to expand fast. I think that goes for Terran. I think that goes for Protoss. And, of course, that'll make some metagame things happen. But, yeah, just, like, it's difficult to pressure the front of any base because of that little low ground area. Like, your opponent can just make the engagement go in their favor very quickly. So, like, I think you should probably Nexus first here most of the time, and I think you should go Gasless Expand here most of the time as Terran. And if you're doing those things, obviously, like I said, you get, like, a metagame shift. Like, if every game becomes Nexus first on a given map, you'll start seeing barracks in the center of the map, that type of thing.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. I feel like we never really had that happen in tournament play, but, Nexus first, you will, if they go, like, barracks in the middle of the map, like, you can kill them. Like, it's extremely difficult to recover, but it feels like Terrans haven't wanted to go in that direction. And the problem is like, if you go barracks in the middle of the map and they don't go Nexus first, there is still a small chance you can kill them depending on what they did. But
yeah.
There's also just a chance that you lose and, like all cheeses, kind of rob yourself from the possibility of playing in a game where you could have just won, on kind of skill over time versus, a quick fatal blow. But yeah, we'll see if that becomes emergent, proxy racks in the middle of the map versus, a blind Nexus first. Because if that happened enough, that would probably condition Protoss to stop doing that.
For sure. Stork isn't scouting, but is instead just going up for a quick Cybernetics core. Ample is going to go for that gasless expansion I mentioned. I've been trying it on this map because, like, if anytime you have a high ground natural, gasless becomes really good because you don't need siege mode. I feel like you don't need siege mode here too. I've been trying to find a spot for the bunker where the Dragoons can't fire at it unless they stand on low ground, and it doesn't seem to exist. But they have to be really careful with how they place the goons, and I think that gasless is going to be really strong, and I think you probably don't need siege mode with it. So that makes an insanely good map for that build.
Yeah, you know what I wonder that Stork might do, just because I see his second pylon at the expansion? He might do something like get one Dragoon and then expand.
Yeah.
Like, he might look at this and go, okay, well, like, let's do something that denies scouting. Notice he's only got 2 in gas, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, let me just deny the scout. He won't get to see my tech. He won't get to, if he makes barracks in the middle of the map, I can try to fight this, and that's what's happening here. So he's going to have this Dragoon, I believe, pop out in a second here. And then he can't be scouted. He can tech into anything he wants, and we all know Protoss have a lot of different options when it comes to what they can tech into. It's why they're, very tricky to play against early on, right? Like, you could even just, like, go for DTs right off of this, You could go for a Robo immediately. You could, get a few more Dragoons and take a third. And so it's very similar in ideas to what we were talking about, but with a little bit of a twist to kind of keep them safe. And it's going to be a really fast Robo.
Very, very fast. He has, like, one Dragoon that just popped out, right? Like,
yeah, that's literally all he has.
Yeah.
He actually started the Robo before the Dragoon was even done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so this is a really smart way to play this. Now, the Robo, he might have always wanted to do that, or this may be because his natural is close to the Terran's natural. And so, off of a super fast Nexus, this is a crazy fast Robo. And it looks like he's getting Dragoon range right after that. So, like, Stork's play is really impressing me because this guy's always been kind of the build order guru. He's always been able to look at a map and kind of figure out what his race needed to do to get ahead and get into a comfortable spot. And this is pretty smart, specifically against what the Terran's doing, is Terran can't check the tech, but knows the Nexus has been taken. But yeah, he might not know this is quick Robo. Now, I assume it's going to be Shuttle and Reaver, but let's see.
I think you're right on all that. For Stork, like, I also agree with the assessment of what he's good at here. It's like, I think he is probably the #1 Protoss that we can name in ASL as far as knowing what to do. It's just that his execution of those things is not super top tier. It's like I think the reason why I really like to watch him, especially in this matchup, is he will do the correct thing. He'll see what you're doing and be like, I know what counters that, and he'll go for it. And that's what he's doing here. Like, this is the best build he could have done after scouting what Ample was doing. Really, really strong choices here.
Yeah, I like the way that you said that, Artosis, because I think that's spot on. Is like, he understands the game so well. This really was the guy, if you could get your hands on a replay, just stuff that you take for granted about when you make probes or workers or stop workers or tech. You could get if you got your hands on a replay in the early days of his, you'd be like, oh my God, he changes these 3 things and now I'm 10 times better.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just looking at what he's done here now, which is basically a Reaver rush off of a super fast Nexus with 1 Dragoon to basically obfuscate it. By the way, it was scouted. We were talking about Stork in general, but it was spotted. This is low ground.
Yeah.
Up here, right? Not high ground. This is Brood War, so you can never tell for sure by just looking at it, but it looks like low ground. It is?
Yes, that is. And yeah, like, the fact that he went 3rd Nexus, by the way, off 1 gate and Reaver, this, like, if you wanted me to write down what I thought would be the best thing he could do, it would be exactly what he's doing. Move for move.
Yeah.
This is like, I think in theory, the absolute perfect way for him to play. Even the 4-gate follow-up, I think, is perfect here. Like, Stork is playing God tier, but there's nothing wrong with what Ample's doing. Ample's playing this all correctly as well. It's just, he's the one dictating what's going on in a lot of ways, and Stork is having to react.
All right, we've got Stork. He's going to come out and probably not get much done. You can see the difference in between Snow's Reaver control and Stork's. He engages like this, just how much more Snow can get done. By the way, this wasn't, even though it was a fast Reaver rush, he didn't get the shuttle speed, which I kind of took for granted that he would get that, but he actually skipped it. So he's got Reaver pressure. It may have been more important to him that turrets were forced out than that the Reaver really got damage done, which is kind of an older way of approaching the game. A lot of what Snow does is like, no, I have to get in there because I could kill like 6 tanks and a bunch of SCVs. But, you know, this is a lot of times just kind of coming up with the shuttle. It's an older way of playing. By the way, not when I say older, I don't mean bad. I think it's still totally fine to use today. But the idea is like, no, you have to make turrets now. And then I'm not going to overextend with the Reaver, so now I back up.
Now, looking at the continuation of both of these builds, we see that Ample is just very steadily ramping up. For Stork, he's on 4-gate, and we see the Citadel coming down. But now we have to see, does he decide to try to take a quicker 4th, or does he play a more conservative, like, 8 gateway? I think 8 gateway here is basically, like, super safe. You're never going to die to a Terran push if you go up to 8 gates right now and get Zealot legs. But he might opt for the 4th base to try to get ahead.
Yeah, now the 4th base play, that's a little scary. Right now, the Terran is sealed off. You can't really see what's going on there. It could be like a 2-base all-in. It could be a command center coming here later. The Observer's going to see with this SCV, unless it's a really genius fake, by the way, from Ample, that this is going to be a 3rd base, which means he can basically take the 4th base 100%.
And that is what he's going to do. And I think he did go 8-gate before this as well, by the way. So Stork is like, he's believing in himself, which is, I want to see this. Look at that. Yeah, exactly. 8-gate into the 4th base after scouting the 3rd. They're both playing perfectly, guys. Just to make that clear, like, so far, obviously there are little things like micro that you could do better or maybe, like, find a way in or something. But, like, the theory behind their moves on both sides, I put down as, like, this is optimal. This is perfect on both sides. This is a god-tier game.
This is a really good game.
Yeah.
This is a game you could study from either the Terran or the Protoss' perspective, and they're basically playing it right. It's a pretty complicated game. It probably would not be the easiest to learn from because the openings are a little bit odd. They're a little bit ahead of their time. I think especially Stork's here. But, yeah, I mean, they're playing really solid games. Now, we saw with Best the idea of maxing out before the 5th, which I thought was interesting. And I kept thinking, like, this is a mistake. And then it just happened so many times. I'm like, okay, this is actually what he's trying to do. He's actually, because most players would get up to 5 bases when they see the Terran take 3. I want to see if Stork takes a 5th base right away or not. By the way, the double shuttle harass here. This is always good versus a late 3rd base. So the idea is the shuttle in the front has Zealots in it, and you just unload them. Oh, well, he actually has them kind of split there. So, yeah, you have one shuttle that can take the Reaver and micro with it. Now, one problem here is he can't get out that easily, right? Because there's now a Goliath and a turret over there. But the idea is that this forces the Terran back. You can get some depots, you get some kills here. Oh, now the problem is this is now trapped inside the base and it will be killed off. So, you know, we talked about a perfect game. Well, we're now post-perfect game.
Yeah, we're getting into the area where no one is going to put out like a perfect game. There's too many moving parts. But like that, the defense from Ample was god tier again. Like he had the double turret placement, he had the mines, he had a siege tank, and he even had the extra turret near his command center to stop a Reaver dive, which Stork could have tried, but was too smart to do. Like Ample was super prepared. That's like you can tell someone plays a lot of ladder when they have that 3rd turret near the command center. Because that's like, yeah, no, I get punished by this too much. But some Vultures moving out in the map now. Ample is actually taking a 4th base right now. That is a really quick 4th base. My God, look at that. 11 minutes and you're making a 4th base in TVP? Wild.
I don't even think Protoss is checking for that yet, because you're basically not even thinking that's going to happen this early. The Vultures are doing a great job killing off these probes. This is huge. This is really painful for the Protoss. Absolutely worth it to sack these Vultures to get those kills. Almost every single probe is wiped out. So there's a second shuttle out now. A lot of games when you see shuttle speed, you will see Psystorm upgraded. Let's see if that's a Psystorm drop now.
Knew a mine would be there. Yeah, it is going to be that Psystorm drop you called. Doesn't really get too much damage done. But, you know, like, sometimes it'll take 2-3 drops before you get damage, but the damage will still pay off for all the drops that you've done.
This is still here?
Yeah. I didn't know, actually. That's so funny.
Dead.
Dude,
I had given up. I actually was like, did he get a second shuttle in there? And I'm like, oh, that's the one from earlier. So this is a really good dirty trick. Is the the quad shot on the depot. Terran tend to stack these together for space efficiency. And if you get a couple Scarabs in there, you can wipe that out. So this is, I would not be shocked if Stork has a second Robo, which, by the way, I feel like Stork, when he plays the double Robo style, it's a little bit shakier than some of these other Protosses that are able to do it. But this is very common to get lots of shuttles, use Psystorm, Reavers, sometimes just dropping right on top of the army. It's a pretty crazy way to play the game. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see it on like some of these island maps that we have in the tournament here as well. But let's see if he can actually get a bust off here.
Oh, looks like he wants to bomb in with some Zealots first, get him on top of those siege tanks and deal some damage, and that's actually working out pretty darn well. He gets like 3 tanks there, I think, and deals some damage to other ones. More units coming up. I don't think he busts this base. Like, maybe he can force a liftoff for a moment, but I don't think this will do substantial damage to Ample.
Yeah, he's got the Templar coming out here. He's going to storm those units away. I think there's enough that's pulled back here that the Dragoons can't really do that much.
Yeah.
This is, it kind of feels bad for the Protoss here. You're not really getting a whole lot done. I guess you are killing off some Vultures and you're driving SCVs away, so there's that for sure. Nice storm.
I wouldn't call it, like, successful from Stork, but it doesn't feel like he made some big mistake here or something. He's killed some tanks. He's forced some lost mining time. He's kind of dictating some of the flow of the game. And I think he should have started the 6th Nexus while he did that, but I think he will very shortly here.
Yeah. He sacked a decent amount back there, honestly. It looks like he's going to try to take another base here. I really do like these moments where... Okay, hold on a second. He's going to have to get this block up.
Yeah, this Vulture attack is pretty nice. If he can get rid of that Dragoon, that'd be fantastic. Dude, this Dragoon is invincible. Oh my god, he's missing so many shots. Ah! That's so crazy. Oh, and Stork just like holds on easily, and it looks like this whole group of Vultures is going to get almost nothing done.
You know, Vultures with the accuracy of Star Wars stormtroopers here, unable to kill off that one Dragoon that just somehow so many shots missed. I thought it was going to get up there way faster. So 5 probes live. It should have been 0. And, I mean, look, Stork's got a huge bank right now. A banked up amount of units, I should say. He's looking really good. He's going to be maxing out. Terran is going to get to the moment where they're going to try to snake down the map and pick a fight. And just looking at what Stork has, he probably can't... He doesn't seem like he has any storms. If he does, they're inside of a shuttle. But the only way that he can fight this is with storm, or he has to try to counterattack. Sorry, go ahead, Tastosis, please.
I just wanted to mention, they just showed us, Ample actually screwed up. He hasn't started 2-2. He's had 1-1 forever. We're 15.5 minutes in, and 2-2 isn't started despite having 2 armories and everything. So that's a pretty big mistake. That's going to allow Stork to take much better fights.
Yeah, that's actually crazy.
They just started. He just started 2-2. So, you can be done 3-2 around now if you actually start early. So that's a huge difference.
I wonder if Stork's even going to be checking for that, because you're just, so much of this matchup for Terran is dependent on getting upgrades. Basically just having an upgraded army that's better than the Protoss is in a head-to-head fight. So, he could totally lose this whole game because of that. That's crazy.
It really is. The difference between having like 3-2 and 1-1 is gigantic. It's night and day on how those engagements go. But, I mean, he's started it. He has 4 base up against 5, soon to be 6. So things are still like, okay, like Ample's not out because of this. It's definitely a big mistake, and if he loses, that's going to be one of the reasons. But he's playing well, and now we have to see how he wants to do this, because right now he's just rotating a lot of vultures, and this is such a good play. If you can rotate these vultures and trade for value while you're on 4 base, what happens is you continue to do your rounds of tank, Goliath, vulture, but you're trading out vultures, and you're never trading out tanks or Goliaths. So you're actually just building the overall strength of your army massively during this. Because if you just max out straight and never lose a unit, you'll end up with 3 groups of vultures. In this type of scenario, he's going to end up with like probably 20 supply more tanks than you would have with a very quick max. So that's going to make his army way stronger. And look at that. That's insane. That is a good army from Ample.
This is where the Protoss has to control really well. Force up a siege and run for it. See if you can get them into a position where they're going to be a little bit overextended. Now, mass shuttle is great for mass tanks because suddenly you can bomb right on top of them.
He does have a good amount of these Goliaths, though. Oh my gosh, really good control from Ample so far. Some good storms going down, but he's pulling back really cleanly. The Zealots trying to get on top, and he keeps almost all of the tanks alive. Loses a few here and there, but his tank count is magnificent right now. If Ample just waits for a couple rounds to make sure he has buffers for those tanks and continues, it's going to be very hard for Stork to clear this army out.
Okay, some more Zealot bombs. This is kind of what he wanted to do earlier. I'm worried Stork sacrificed a little bit too much.
Maybe.
I just feel like, man, this is a lot of tanks coming down here. He needs to get some good Psy Storms off and get a couple more waves here. And it's very important that you don't get contained. Now, he's got 2 locations with gateways, so he does have the ability to basically always produce from one side that's not covered. Great storm there.
Very, very good. He needs a lot more like that, though. He does have a good amount of speed shuttles. He's running around. Now, Ample's attacking bottom right. This is sometimes a mistake from Terran. Sometimes you look and say, okay, I got to kill his new bases. But a lot of times it's better to just go and cut off the gateways. So I'm not a big fan of attacking down here. I think this gives Stork more room to clear everything.
It feels like he's dropping all in one location. I feel like it's supposed to be a little bit more spread out than this. I don't mean to sound too judgmental. It's almost like I'm judging a diving competition or something, but like, you know what I mean? There is a way to perfectly do this. I think actually Stork barely has enough.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because there was so much coming out here. Ample, I mean, once the tanks go down, then you're okay. I mean, he's going to, take out these few tanks over here, one more over here. He can get right in front of that. Maybe there's enough damage to get that wiped out. Hey, look, if he can just produce a little bit more, Terran's going to have given up most of the tanks that were made in this game, and then there might be counterplay from Protoss.
Absolutely. That's like a big problem. Now, Stork actually just scouted the 5th base of Ample. That might be something he wants to clear. I think he needs to finish clearing this push that he has going on, though. Oh, wow.
Oh.
That's a lot of High Templars to sacrifice in this area, but does stop a lot of mining as well.
Yeah, I don't know how full these shuttles are. I guess we're about to find out. He's going to do another big unload over here. And again, the siege tanks, their damage will hit the other siege tanks in the splash. That's why the Zealots are so handy in this moment, is the tanks in some ways are wiping each other out as they're wiping the Zealots out.
Really, really good D-Matrix there, and continues to push onto this Nexus. Sends some units down to his own 5th base. It might be time for Stork to give up this base and then hit the left side. I feel like he's spending too much trying to save this Nexus, where, like, if he just uses Psy Storm to kind of keep Ample off that high ground in the bottom right, maybe he can seesaw it and put on enough pressure on the left side that he doesn't have to deal with this anymore.
I worry that Templar drop he did was a little bit overkill.
Yeah.
The one that took out the SCVs,
yeah.
It kind of felt like those storms should have been used for the army.
Yeah.
I think he thought that he could, relax a little bit, and it was his turn to fight, but I think no more than 2 Templars for a drop like that. Maybe a Zealot and 2 Templars. But 4 is a lot.
Yeah.
4 only seems like it makes sense when the Terran is down to 1 base and literally all their SCVs are there. And it's like all you have to do is make this like kill move and you're going to win the game.
He really needs to tuck his knees and make a smaller splash when he goes in. You know, that's
Yeah.
The thing is, it's funny because this game is so close. This is such a well-played game on both sides. What you're saying about this is completely true. It's like he's making these small mistakes and they're making a big difference. Where it's like, yeah, you do need a couple more storms against the actual army. But he does another bomb in there, and he's actually doing quite a good job with it. I even like the Archon that's in there. That's actually kind of useful in this particular case. And now he is trying to seesaw to this left-hand side. I think he's a little bit late doing this, but at least he's stopping mining at that base for now. Well,
really mined out in this matchup.
Yeah. Whoa, sorry, you went. I think your mic died there for 1 second, but yeah,
sorry.
The bases are starting to get mined out here for Stork a little bit. He's struggling. Whereas Ample, I think, if you have 3 mining bases in TVP, you're feeling very, very good about that. His upgrades are catching up as well, and. Yeah, like Ample still has some strong positions on the map. He's starting to push through the center once again. Stork needs to take a really good fight.
Yeah, he's going to try to push up here now. And, I mean, with the tank, you can see the tanks are fewer and fewer in number, which means you can start to isolate them. You can start to pick them off. Anything clustered together like this group up here, this would be a great place to storm. And you can see the Terran's getting pushed back more and more and more. And if Protoss can start to clear out the mines and take this top right base, I think that's going to be checkmate. I don't know if we're going to get there or not. By the way, there is a world too, and we almost never get to cast this in ASL because it's just rare that the TVP goes in this direction, but there is a world where Terran will try to take the top right main.
Yeah. Well, he needs to think of another base eventually. I think the mineral base probably gets taken first, but you're right. Once you take the mineral base, you kind of have the setup to take the other bases. Now, Stork is going to try to run down this ramp. He's bombing on the tanks again. There's no supporting units here, so the Zealots are going to be super, super strong as they get in. Basically, every tank that gets touched by a Zealot should pretty much get cleared here. And he is going to be able to break out. This is an important moment. This entrenched position has been a thorn in Stork's side.
Yeah, he needs to open this up. It does feel like replacements are already here, but I don't know if they can cross the bridge. It's a lot of Templars, by the way. PvT, there's a point where you just want to have Templars all over the place. You just need to have storms in enough numbers, even if it's like this. You're storming, what, 3 Vulture Bikes? Is it worth it? Absolutely. Just storm anything you can. Because if Terran oversteps in 1 or 2 storms, they're going to take so much damage. So, I mean, Ample pushes out, but he doesn't really have a great position over here. Another great Templar drop. Dude, a lot of SCVs are getting killed here.
This is getting to be quite the close game because he's having a hard time mining from his 5th. His 3rd is gone. And now he's just up at 12 o'clock with consistent mining. Stork, though, is getting really low, too. Like, he really needs to get these bases set up. He's got a great siege tank spread here, trying to attack that bottom right natural once again.
Yeah, as long as he can just take these tanks out, he's going to be okay. Terran is getting less and less income as this game goes on. Protoss, by the way, they have their own problems, too. I mean, I think 6 o'clock is going to mine out. Yeah, it's so low.
No.
The bottom right is, like, okay. Like, that's going to last a little bit. But, right now, Stork is expanding into where Ample's pushing. And that's not Stork's fault. There's nowhere else that he can take in this position. So there's a world where Ample just barely wins this because the main mine's out.
I think that's right. I think he's very close to winning this game right now. There's not that many units left over for Stork. He doesn't have that great of an economy. The bottom right is almost all he has left at this point, and Ample just has such a nice entrenched position. Look at this, catching these probes that go up to the new base of Stork. Oh no, this has been a great game. I have enjoyed the hell out of this game. Very well played from both sides, but I think Stork is right at the end of what he's able to do.
Feels like he's just, well, hold on, here comes a big storm drop. Remember, all these SCVs, you're storming them over and over again. SCVs take a little bit longer to kill. Sometimes they can move through one storm. But, eventually that's going to be pretty much all the workers that Ample has. My concern is basically that Stork can't muster an army to fight what Ample has. And we're at the point in time where Ample's got Very well upgraded units. I guess Stork never took the gas in his natural, so he's not really getting gas right now. Or, no, sorry, not in his natural, in his the bottom right base.
Yeah, you are right about that. Oh, that's too bad because he has all these extra probes, so that would have been useful for some more High Templars. Generally you don't want Archons. Like, I'll tell you, Tastosis, when I start seeing a lot of Archons, that's when I gain confidence. It's like, oh, Protoss is really struggling now. But, more of these suicide runs with the High Templars can be good for sure. Now, Ample has so much control of this map right now.
Oh, my God.
I think, dude, I can't see Stork doing anything else. I think he has one engage left in him, and I can't imagine him winning with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how he could get in here and get anything done. The lack of gas is painful. Even though the storm drops have been pretty good, there's not enough SCVs that have really been killed for this to matter.
I want to point out also, Ample here, like, we never used to see Ample play games like this. This really shows what he's been working on the ladder. Like, he never used to play these long, drawn-out, really sophisticated TVPs where you're taking area and, like, you're reinforcing and you're having to rebuild your economy over and over from storm drops. That just was something that he was good at. And to watch him do this well against Stork, who I think played a very nice game overall, really nice to see.
Yeah, this was a great match. And I love seeing how Ample has really improved and transformed his style. Playing a very methodical macro TVP here where, he basically slowly boxed Stork in. There's really no way that Stork could get out on the map. And you notice he's not overextending here. He knows, okay, this is like a best of one. I don't want to, like, risk anything right now. Let me just bleed him out. He is eventually going to starve to death here. And that's basically what we're seeing. There's a modicum of minerals over here in the bottom right, and there's nothing he can really spend them on to do anything.
Yeah, Stork is making what he can afford at this point. I think he knows that the game is very close to over for him. He's going to try to make something happen here still. When you have Psystorm and shuttles, a lot of magic can occur, figuratively and literally there, but when there's this many, like, missile turrets, the fact that he's entrenched these positions this well, where you have, like, Goliaths and missile turrets and you have mines on the side, the cost efficiency from Terran in this late game scenario is way too high.
When you see a tank spread out, like, so that they're never touching each other, so that only one storm would hit one tank, it's like, oh, man, there's nothing you can really do. So he's going to come down here now. Again, more great storms here. The idea is good. I just don't think it's ever going to be enough.
No. Stork is going to GG here. He knows it. You can see the kind of tilt in his head, the look on his face. He's just using up what he has left.
He just wants to spend all of his mana, guys. Don't worry. Once he spends his mana, he's going to leave this game. Okay, GG. That was getting insane. I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, Ample wins there. I think Stork put up a great fight. He looked good today.
Yeah.
But he wasn't able to, execute at a level where he could.
No, he put out
the other players and get out of this group.
He put out a couple great games, and again, he is the oldest player basically. Hyun is the same age, like a month older or something, but like he's like the oldest consistent ASL player. He's a father. It's tough to keep up those skills, but he is still one of the best in the world. I think he showed it. A great game against Larva, a great game against Ample, who's #1 on the ladder for the last couple months. Like, these are killers that he's up against, and he really made it close and entertaining.
This was a lot of fun. Great PvT here today. And this means we're going to have the rematch. It's going to be a TVT, Ample versus Sharp. Coming up next, guys, we will be right back.
Made for the best. Made for who you can be. For esports pros, any miss can mean defeat. That's why the Death Adder V4 Pro has everything lined up. A fast, ergonomic design. A quantum leap in speed. optical tracking for pixel-perfect scrolling, and a sensor more precise and intelligent than any other. Made for the best. Made for who you can be.
Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. Out of the cage, I'ma get 'em. All of my haters turn into a victim. Let off the leash, gotta sick 'em. They don't expect it, so we bout to hit 'em. Try to keep up with the rhythm, never lose focus, cause we're on a mission. See how they squirming, cause we're so determined. You looking for greatness, that's the definition. Call them and tell them you ready. Flowing can't hold back the levy. You know who sit on the throne and who wear the crown. I hope you get the message. This gonna be one for the ages. Gotta put us on your A-list. I hope that you came prepared. We're ready to win it on any occasion. Yeah. Woo. Let's go. We break all the rules with a defiance. We got it all from the small to the giant. Put on a show when it's electrifying. Guaranteed to show and prove. Ain't no competition, we can't lose. We got the hits coming summer to summer. 365 got the magic and wonder. Stay on top, we're never going under. Hey, whichever way you choose, yeah, it's going down and we won't lose. Who gon' try me? We got drip like IBs, flow just like a butterfly, and been a champ like Ali. Yeah, who gon' stop me? Who said that they got me? We came to take over, ain't no if, ands, or problems. We break all the rules with a defiance. We got it all from the small to the giant. Put on a show when it's electrifying. Guaranteed to show
Terran time, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to have a rematch of that insane TVT that we saw here earlier. If I had to bet, I think Sharp's going to take this, but Ample did look very strong in that previous game.
Yeah, it's hard to predict. We're going to be on Polestar, which is a really dynamic map for Terran versus Terran as well. There's so many ways that openers can go here. I feel like everything's good on Polestar. This is really our best 4-player map that exists at the moment. Everyone that I've spoken to agrees with this. I don't know if you do, Tasteless, but I think Polestar is the map at the moment.
I think it's a great map. And I've just loved the maps we've had the last couple of years here. It's been really exciting. I know there was periods where it was a little bit, they were fun, but it was sometimes I want to see some more, kind of standard fundamental StarCraft. I think Polestar makes for some very fun, interesting games. TVT on this Tastosis, is there anything we should be watching out for as far as the way the map's shaped, how it can be cut in half?
Everything works here. It is a great map for Terran versus Terran. You can really have any openers.
Interesting. All right, guys, this is it. This is the last day here of Group A in the ASL at TVT to decide who will be advancing here into the next round. Let's go. Okay, it is Sharp here in the top left and Ample in the top right. Our final call to action, guys, for today. Consider signing up for our Patreon. It has been incredible to just keep giving you guys ASL every season. The stories, the strategies, and we wouldn't be able to do it without you. So if you want to support us in our endeavor to keep the original esport, and this is literally the original esport. It's almost, 26, 27 years old now. Esports now is a global phenomenon. It all started here. But, one of the things that bums me out about esports a lot of times is that, they pop up and they're kind of used as a marketing prop, and then they go away.
Yes.
StarCraft 1's
So
never going to
true.
go away.
No.
Yeah, they're like, okay, we made this scene and we supported it for 3 years, and now let's let it die. Well, that's not going to happen with StarCraft 1. If you consider supporting us on the Patreon, we are going to be around for a long time here to cast it.
Yes, thank you guys so much. And the community is just going to keep it going forever. There's no way to stop it at this point. They could try to shut it down, and infinite private servers would jump up anyways. It's just StarCraft 1 is going to live forever. There's just a handful of esports that are not ever going away, and this is one of them, and that's thanks to you guys. So thank you, and do spread the word that ASL Season 20 is here. Already, this is one of our best day ones we've ever had. These games have been awesome. They've been really well played, really interesting. All the games have felt very close as well, really battled back and forth, and I don't feel like that's always the case with these best-of-1 formats.
Yeah, well, we've had very special games inside of each of the best-of-1s, right? Every once in a while, one guy just gets 6 lings in and kills a cannon before it finishes and the game's done. But now we've had some really close bangers of games so far here. So with our players here both sharing the top, it could get pretty explosive right here in the top center. We'll see if we have anything crazy coming from Sharp like we saw with the delayed starport into a drop that really just slowed Ample down overall. I think that really was the most impactful moment of that game. It did allow Sharp to basically strong-arm Ample when it came to them fighting in the middle of the map. So we'll see if Ample changes any of his behaviors as well as Sharp.
Well, the one main thing we see here is that they both look to be going for a factory expansion. They're both mining gas at the same rate right now. So that really does point towards that. It doesn't look like it'll be any sort of crazy one-base cheese. I don't think that's how you want to go out anyways. You have to get a little bit lucky to make those work in Terran versus Terran. But, yeah, if they're both going factory expansion, it's a little bit harder to pull a trick. It's when the builds are really different that a player like Sharp can get really far ahead, I think. Because, for instance, look at that last game. He did kind of the late drop. It was kind of a weird opener, the second factory before the starport, and then he kind of lined up with tanks and had a half wall going on and just kind of outplayed Ample in areas he wasn't thinking about. Whereas if you both go for the same build like we see here, factory expand versus factory expand, it's really easy to keep track of what your opponent can have. You know what I mean? It's like, well, no,
Sure.
I know he doesn't have 3 factories right now. That's impossible because, like, we're doing the exact same build with the same economy. So I think that this gives Ample a reasonable opportunity to show what he's been working on.
Yeah, I think so. This SCV getting inside the base is always a little bit painful. But he will be able to kill that off over here in a second. But just getting that absolute confirm as to what kind of game this is so far. Kind of to what you were saying, Tastosis, it's not like anything too crazy can happen just yet. Basically, both players went for the macro route, pretty standard stuff. Greedy, but not too greedy, like safe greedy, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Hey, you're pretty much safe against everything with these builds. And in fact, you can see both of them not getting add-ons. The current metagame is 4 vultures before your add-on. But we'll see. Like, because that's the metagame, it's good to go 3. And then if it's good to go 3, it's good to go 2. You know? And if it's good to go 2, it's good to go 4. So it like just kind of rotates around like that. It's kind of funny how that works. But yeah, that's what a metagame is. Oh, wow. Sharp had misplaced that. That's kind of funny. But yeah, he's going to get that back landed and get mining at his natural. I think they're both going to go 3 factory here. It would be really surprising if they both go 2 factory because 2 factory is an off build. But we'll see in just a second. Like, this is the time where you add a 3rd factory.
Yeah, and then we do enter the Vulture arms race. Eventually, a tank will appear somewhere in here.
Wow.
But yeah, a little bit of a slower start here for this TVT. Not much happening just yet.
Neither of them are making a 3rd factory. That is really interesting. Like, if you don't go 3rd factory, you go armory. And I don't see the armory for Sharp. So a Siege Tank comes out for Ample. Okay, that's totally fine with this type of build. I think he's making an armory. I think I saw it. Siege Tank comes out for Sharp. Like, if you're going to go 2 factory, you need that tank so you don't just die to vultures. So they have exactly the same unit sets walking out right now to kind of poke each other. And mine's already being laid for Ample, so he's going to be completely safe here. And in fact, okay, yeah, you have to be careful. You didn't see where he laid mines. So if you go forward and get blown up by a mine, you can just lose the game instantly.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting to see them both kind of pressed up against each other here in the upper center of the map. Like, this is a moment where it's like kind of hard to you got to be very careful about counterattacks, but there's a lot that could go right or wrong here, you know, depending on how the engagement goes. They both don't have vision. I mean, it should be obvious, but it's worth reminding everybody, like, the only way you're going to kill a mine is if it pops up and you shoot it down, which is, it's easier to do that in Terran vs. Terran than it is in the other matchups. But, yeah, still got to proceed with caution.
So both of them are adding their 3rd factory, but keeping up Siege Tank production. So this is like a really middle-of-the-road-ish type of way to play. Academy is coming up for Sharp, and he scouted that with his barracks that a 3rd command center is being made by Ample. So Ample is trying to play a very greedy game here because of the minefields and because of the Siege Tanks. He's looking at that and saying, okay, I don't think you can attack me. Sharp agrees. Sharp throws down his own command center. Now, he has speed, so he's going to try to mix it up and, like, get in there maybe. But you do have to be careful about this. If your vultures are out of position, there might be counterattack potential, or maybe more vultures come in and eliminate them.
Okay, so they're going to come up here. They're going to kill the SCV that's making the command center. The vultures of Ample are going to come down. Now, speed vultures do beat slow vultures. They just get a little bit of a better initiation here. And there's no way for slow vultures to really retreat here. The tanks come in. They're going to do enough damage to these other vultures that they're going to have to back up. But then Sharp comes in here with more of his own. He's planting mines. This is really scary. If you don't target this perfectly, you will lose these tanks.
Oh, man. You have to target down those mines. That is absolutely brutal. His command center continues to get slowed down. And a tank is stuck there. Uh-oh. Sharp going to just run by. He's going to start killing off some SCVs. Sharp is taking a nice advantage in this game right now.
Yeah, Sharp's looking really good. He even gets a vulture into the main here. He's going to plant some more mines. Now, 3 vultures will one-shot an SCV, but 2 can still kill SCVs extremely fast. Great control here. Oh, that's funny. He actually misclicks for a second and clicks on the enemy vulture, but that was a lot of damage. I mean, the tanks killed were great. The vultures killed were great. Slowing down that 3rd command center is huge, and then getting SCVs on top of that. I mean, a lot of the same themes that happened with these two the first time are happening here the second time as well.
Yeah, like Sharp is kind of outmaneuvering, out-harassing a little bit, even though Ample is going for like the faster economy, and it looks like he has enough to defend. He's not quite able to do that correctly as of yet, at least. But still, the game is like pretty close. I think anyone that you ask would prefer to be in Sharp's position right now, but this is not unplayable or unwinnable for Ample. Terran versus Terran, it's hard to finish each other off. It really is. You have a lot of play to try to come back into it. Like, you have to have consistently strong play throughout a long TVT to win most of the time. Unless your opponent makes a big blunder, which I don't think either of these guys are really going to make.
Well, we know that Ample, when he's down, positionally, can still play a pretty good game. Like, we know he can still figure something out. He can still fight back pretty well. From here, I think the position simplifies a little bit from Ample, at least as far as defense goes. I don't think Sharp's going to try to break him here. I think he's going to try to encircle him and lock him out of opportunities on the map. We see a lot of mines being laid out here, tanks being sieged up, and we're probably going to see Sharp throw down his first fourth base, although it might not be right away. He might want to try to build up and accumulate more control here in the center before he does that. But eventually, the fourth base will come. Now, Ample could take a fourth of his own. He does have access to the 3 o'clock spot.
Sharp actually just added a third add-on, and that's like, it's okay to go third add-on here. I think his idea is because he has that forward position on the high ground over Ample's like low ground area, is I think he wants to make more tanks than normal and just hold that spot, because that's like a spot where if Ample overcommits anywhere on the map, you can suddenly unsiege everything and just push. And it holds that 12 o'clock pace. It's like, it's a super, super powerful position to take. Ample has to play to the south, and Sharp can play forward and to the south here. So, like, his position is definitely stronger at the moment. So, yeah, I think that's his idea right now, is just, like, lots of tanks.
Yeah, basically not give up an inch. Just keep building up more pressure. The SCV, by the way, is sniped over there. Both sides with a lot of supply here in Army. It's a funny thing, like in some matchups, you'll see somebody get contained and the other side will explode in bases, depending on the matchup and the map. This is definitely one where it's like a pressure cooker. Like, weirdly enough, it's actually it's actually Ample that's taking the fourth base. And then Sharp takes it like right after.
Yeah.
So they're basically, despite the position being very Sharp favored, they're expanding it basically at the same time, which is kind of crazy.
And notice how Sharp is playing this, how he's just trying to maintain high ground. Like, he is trying to split this map completely, with himself having, like, more of it. So this type of split you're on high ground, so you're going to force Ample to either do, like, a very strong move, maybe through center, or if you don't support, like, top or bottom, maybe through there, or maybe drop ship, something like that. You're really making it difficult. That's such a big part of StarCraft, is it's not necessarily killing your opponent, but making it difficult for them to do anything.
Yeah, make everything a headache to do. So Ample pushes out, chops up a little bit of the defenses there. Is he going to commit through this? It looks like he wants to plow right in between the middle. This looks kind of crazy. I wish our observer would go down. Okay, he is going to come down here. And, I mean, this is a tough spot to try to shove your way out of, right? I mean, you can be hit from the top, from the bottom, from the side, but he's doing it.
Yeah, he's doing a great job, like, pushing back in the center. I actually didn't recognize that was mostly mines. Sharp only had one siege tank in the center. Now, Ample's been making Wraiths nonstop. I don't see, like, a lot of Goliaths out, so the Wraiths might help him break one of these positions. Like, for instance, if Ample pulls everything back and breaks the 12 o'clock position, then Sharp is going to be way behind in this game, and that's exactly what he's going for.
Yeah, he's going to push up here now, and this is so well surrounded. By the way, huge drop over here at the fourth base. I don't even think Ample sees it yet. He's so busy kind of tunnel visioned on this fight out here to try to take on the base up here that is Sharp's. It is going to be held, by the way.
Wow.
So he's going to get to keep that, and that is two big losses on very different fronts here for Ample.
But Ample did push this back a little bit. He brings in his Wraiths, but he actually doesn't have enough here to deal with these Goliaths. Your first use of Wraiths, you'll never get as much value as the very first time you show them. And that was...
That's 100% right.
Yeah, that was super weak, unfortunately, because he... Like, that... Those could have been really useful, and they just weren't this time. Now, Sharp doing another drop, getting a lot of SCVs. But look at this. Ample is still pushing 6. He can or at 12. He can maybe still break through there.
You know, there's nothing quite like when you have a Wraith and you're fighting Goliath and one SCV comes and repairs it. Never do you have to respect repair more than in that specific moment.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, oh my god, it's one SCV repairing a Goliath. Let me run away with 4 Wraiths right now.
Basically. Oh, man. Another
even
repair
Vultures
right there.
snowball damage that down.
Yeah, the Wraith's trying to clear this dropship. Not going to be able to do that. He's going to lose his Wraiths. Unfortunately, those really did not pay off. You can definitely see that just overall in broad strokes, Sharp is like playing a bit better than Ample. But Ample's ideas are right. He's actually putting out a very strong game here against one of the best Terran versus Terran players in the world.
Yeah. He's going to inch down here. There are tanks hitting from both the north and the south. And Ample's going to very easily win that fight. Bit of an overextension there from Sharp. Sharp is now going up to 5 bases. 9 o'clock is going to be where he'll try to lock in that position. I don't know if Vultures are going to get over there or not. It looks like right now Ample's sending Vultures around into the bottom left to just see, okay, does he have another main? Because that's another inevitability. If this game goes on for, 20 minutes or 15 minutes, they will both have the entirety of the left and the entirety of the right. It'll be split down to who can control, like, the 6 o'clock base over there. So we wanted to check that. Beautiful drop here by Sharp. It's going to be a lot more SCVs killed off again.
Well, the tanks come up pretty quickly, so it's not going to be, like, game-threatening damage, but definitely a bit annoying. Actually clears that better than I thought he would, and quicker than I thought he would there. Sharp still has a pretty good position overall. His 12 o'clock base still is in threat. Like, there is... Like, if I'm Ample, I'm definitely looking towards maybe blowing that base up now. There's just not that many Sharp units over here.
Well, Ample's starting to inch out. We see too many tanks get picked off, isolated, and unable to really trade in these fights, and it's going to be Ample that's actually ahead in that tank count. Beautiful mine comes in there and wipes that out, and the last tank is going to be taken out here. 12 o'clock is going to be pushed away. These SCVs will be executed. Perhaps we're going to see Ample drop one of his own command centers over here. Speaking of dropping, we're going to have counterplay here from Sharp, a big Goliath drop with a tank kind of awkwardly popping out in the middle of this.
I've never seen that.
SCVs, can he pick it up?
That is
was
the
so
furthest I've ever seen.
I almost thought it was like just hiding above the base or something. I couldn't make sense of it.
That was so weird to see. That is absolutely bizarre. I've never seen that.
How does it pop out there?
I've seen him pop out like a little bit to the side where I'm like, wow, that's pretty far. But that was like world record far away. Anyways, has some Vultures up here laying mines in this base. Sharp is dealing so much damage consistently to Ample, it's insane. The fact that Ample is still in this game fighting is impressive itself. Because he has just taken damage left and right from the harassment, but he's done the counter damage. He stopped 12 o'clock from mining. He is cleaning this stuff up over time. And, Sharp's like ahead, but not by a ton, right?
Yeah, I mean, he's got more. He's definitely winning more of these fights, and I do think this is going to be a bit of a bleed out here. Oof. I mean, having these Vultures up here like this and taking out all these workers, I mean, this is a lot of damage, but...
Well, he's going to make him burn through a lot of scans to deal with this and just kind of slow this base down. Sharp is expanding towards the bottom left a little bit during this time. Needs to make sure that he does have these really strong reinforced siege lines. His upgrade's fantastic, by the way. He's just continuing his upgrades. He's on 2-2. He has +3 on the way. I think Ample stopped at +2 because he's taken so much economic damage. +2 is mostly all you need. Obviously, additional upgrades help, but not as important. You can oftentimes tell who has the tempo advantage by how quality those upgrades are.
Yeah, he might want the extra gas to just get a few more tanks to try to take something. The problem is he's just still stuck on 4 bases. There is a 5th base location to take, and that would be at 12 o'clock, but he hasn't quite done it yet. And maybe for the same reason he's not getting an additional upgrade. He doesn't want to take an additional command center. He might want to try to use that little bit of extra momentum to try to break free from here and start to punish Sharp across the map.
Well, moves forward, and Ample, this is a strong moment. If he can eliminate those tanks, he might be able to kill the third base of Sharp. If he kills the third base of Sharp, where does Sharp go from there? He's got to expand all into the bottom left at that point. Really nice push is coming up here from Ample.
He's going to keep moving closer and closer up into this spot. I don't know how valuable this location is up here anymore. I think it's going to be close to mined out, but I guess you just sort of take what you can get, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So he's going to keep pushing. SCVs are getting drawn in here and killed off.
Well, eliminating any base is useful. Even like mined out bases can be useful to kill because it opens up paths for dropships or attacks. So, you know, you never know what's going to happen from here. Like, we might see him clear this base, and then suddenly Sharp has to think about drops in his main as well, which he hasn't really had to pay attention to yet this game.
It's crazy to see what that splash damage from a tank will do. Oh, God. He's having to unsiege just so it doesn't shoot that Vulture and kill that tank. It's so crazy. D-Matrix is very good in these moments, by the way.
Really good.
Just giving a tank extra shots that it can absorb for everybody else can completely snowball a fight. Even a D-Matrix on a Vulture or Goliath at times can be appropriate.
Absolutely. You just tanking a little bit more damage. It can change the course of these fights really quickly. Now, the center is being pushed by Ample again. This is definitely an area where Sharp hasn't sieged as much as other locations. And in fact, he's going to clear some to the south. There's a million mines down there, though. He does have to be careful about that. Mines still can play a big role in this game.
So Ample continues to sweep this side of the map, pushing Sharp further and further out. Unfortunately, Ample's not able to really seize this bottom right location in the way that I think Sharp has done in the mirror spot on his side of the map. So Ample's still kind of fighting from behind here. He's made headway on the map. I don't think he's really punished anything yet. It's basically been trade for trade here, where Sharp is slowly losing tanks, or at least trading them out and giving up some position. And now Ample's going to try to drop in the main. This could be an interesting moment, because if he's going to drop in the main here, he is also probably going to try to push somewhere in the middle of the map when this kind of vacuums some of the units that would have been in the middle of the map here for Sharp back into the main to clean this mess up.
There's a lot of cost efficiency here. I think a Wraith is being made because he realizes it's not... Oh, no, it was a dropship. Well, there's not a lot of Goliaths here. So, yeah, dropping on top of it is probably the best way, but this is really efficient for Ample. This is the type of thing that just kind of gains you some value after the amount of damage you've taken in the game. Like, look, there's no way this drop wasn't good for Ample. And now he's going to go ahead and push his third base once again, which it still has minerals. It still has some gas there. This is really fantastic by Ample. He is fighting back so strongly from a tough position.
Yeah, it's impressive, to say the least. The CC is going to be lifted. A couple SCVs picked off here. It's these bottom left bases that Sharp has that Ample seems to be unable to reach out and punish. I mean, even one Vulture at each of those bases would be huge, right? Just to stop the SCVs from mining. Sometimes, man, that's all you need. You don't need a drop. You don't need a push. You need one Vulture just clicked off to the side by the gas, and over time it will kill every SCV, and that might be why you won.
100%. If he I was just going to say, if he rotates just like a few Vultures to the bottom left, that might seal the game for him, even though he's down 20 supply right now. If he shuts down some of those bases, you can see how methodically he's cleared the top of the map. And now he is threatening more drops into that main base. This is what happens when you clear some of these locations. It just gives you more options of where you can push. Now he's got some dropships coming in. Sharp moving down the map. Oh, this is brilliant to go to the back left. Oh, he's just going to start killing depots. The economies are not super strong right now. Any kills are good.
He's got to be careful, because that splash damage on the depots can kill his own tanks here too.
Yeah.
So Sharp's going to have to drop into the very, very top left corner of his own base. But Sharp's still growing. He's taking 6 o'clock along with all this.
Nice drop onto those tanks. I think he'll just barely clear it. Yeah, that's about as just barely as you can get right there. And a lot of those depots are on fire, so that's a little bit annoying as well. Looks like he just killed a dropship off maybe with that Goliath. Sharp kind of zoning the center of the map. It's like he needs to just like put a stop line where Ample can't push any further into his main, and then he needs to secure bottom left. Like, he's got a bunch of bases down there, but those could be cleared if he's not careful.
I think that Ample pushed out really well, but never gave himself the opportunity to get those extra resources fast enough to get ahead of Sharp. It's like Sharp actually lost a bunch of fights, and it didn't matter because this is a game about, you know, a lot of times who has the bigger economy for longer. And you can get a better position, but if you're, you know, fighting for 5 minutes or more and, you know, you take a late 5th base and Sharp takes like 2 more bases in the bottom, actually make it now 4 more bases in the bottom with how much he's got over here. I mean, it's just so much.
Yeah. You know, this is Sharp showing just how good he is. Like, the fact that all this has been happening and he hasn't stopped expanding. Like, Ample's doing a lot, but he is not expanding consistently throughout this. Sharp is. Sharp is showing that his speed is real. One of the fastest Terran players out there. And, like, even though Ample's APM number might be up there, it's like Sharp's multitasking here to set up this number of bases, to have them mining while clearing out all these crazy attacks that are happening is truly impressive.
So now I feel like Ample, even though he pushed out so far, I don't know where he can take the game from here. You know what I mean? Like, he's got some tanks. He's going to try to move out. Sharp has really mustered quite a huge army. Even if he could deny these bases, he's going to be fighting against a Sharp who's soaked up so many more resources on the map here. Such a massive supply lead. Like, these tanks coming out here, I think actually Sharp just fights this, right? He'd have to bring up the rest of his tanks. Why does he just have Goliaths here? Oh, because there's vultures here, that's why.
Sharp always makes a little bit too many Goliaths. It's just like part of the way he plays.
Yeah.
It's a funny thing about him, but I guess he never loses to Wraiths, so that's cool. But yeah, he does end up holding on there, and like, oh, finally we actually have some vultures getting to the bottom left. This could be big for Ample.
Yeah, this is what I wish he would have done a while back here, was just get, even if it's like 1 or 2 vultures, because you can see the SUVs, they cannot fight them. You can just pick them up and run away. You can kite for days. You can see Goliaths come down here and try to help, and they get killed off.
Yeah. Like, Ample, I think Ample's like on the edge of losing this game, but he is killing so many SCVs that it's like Sharp's economy is not that great right now. He's only mining from, well, I guess he does have 3 bases still. That's the thing about Sharp. He's actually setting up so many bases, it's hard to keep track of.
Yeah, I'd be curious what the SCV count is on both sides.
Me
Been
too.
a lot of killed SCVs here for Sharp. I mean, we don't know how much he's been remaking them. Some players are much better at this than others, where like they'll be losing workers the whole time and just continuously pumping them out, and others, things get a little bit crazy and they haven't made workers for minutes sometimes.
Well, a lot of offensive mines here as he drops this 12 o'clock base that used to be his. It is now Ample's and is now Sharp's again. Ample with the counterattack down into 6. He is going to knock out that base maybe once and for all. The base Ample wanted to set up in the bottom right gets knocked out by a single Goliath. Sharp taking a pretty significant supply advantage right now. We know not a ton of this supply on either side could be in SCVs because they've both killed so many.
Yeah, that's true.
It's
well,
yeah.
I mean, look, it kind of comes back down to these bases. Even though we're seeing Ample do so much damage, Ample's so small on the map. He is barely mining from this 3 o'clock base. So I mean, you know, there's just so much more to drink in here for Sharp that it just feels like Ample's great micro and decision making and tactics sort of don't really matter long term. He is going to start to grow into the bottom right. And let's remember, the game's not over until someone's actually, given up. And so maybe there's a world where, like, Ample takes the bottom right side of the map, and he's, able to defend it, and suddenly Sharp, who's soaked up so many more resources and spent them, maybe he's in a position where he's not viable.
That would be a crazy turn of events in this game, but... Oh, Oh, yeah, that was a few too many tanks. I actually thought at the beginning of that, just like Ample, I'm like, yeah, actually, you can break this. Then I saw the tanks to the left, and it's like, oh, no. Going badly very quickly. Now he's rotating the tanks towards bottom left. I don't know how many units are really there to defend. Uh-oh. He's getting aggroed everywhere, Tasteless. I think Ample's starting to fall apart a little bit.
It seems like Sharp finally got enough room to breathe that he can start to drop everywhere. And each of these targets is really juicy, you know, and they're not exactly, you know, it's not a target where you can give up and, you know, say, that's fine, I've got something somewhere else, right? He's working with so little. Keep in mind that 12 o'clock is still not under control here of Ample either.
That's true. If he had 12 o'clock mining, this game would be much closer right now. Sharp has set up the whole bottom left. In fact, it looks like he's even made some factories down there, which is kind of crazy. You know, there's still some potential here for Ample. He has the dropships. Maybe he can get in somewhere, shut down some more mining. But the supply differential is getting to be so much that Sharp will just be able to attack, move through the map pretty soon.
Seems like it. Do these dropships have anything in them?
I think so.
These were like floating here a long time ago. I wasn't sure if they were from a previous drop that he'd... Okay, so he actually has stuff here. He's going to try to come in here. Oh, my God, that mine was so scary. Again, dropping the drop, the easiest way to handle this type of play. Just wait for them to go somewhere, take your bigger army, and drop right on top of it. I remember learning that from Yosh. Like a million years ago at a tournament. He said that to me, and I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I just literally never drop. I wait for them to drop me, and I drop that. And that's how I win.
Yeah,
and I'm like...
If you're ahead, they have to attack with them, so they have to unload. And then you just unload on top.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh. You know, you're already in your defensive spot. That's when you see a really good TVT player, is when they get ahead and just mirror your dropship units with your dropships with their dropships. It's the most frustrating thing in the world. You're like, damn, wherever I go, he's up one dropship and it's a defensive position. I can't break it.
It is insane what a survivor Ample is in this game. Like, he is tenacious, man. He is putting up a fight. But we're at, what, 199 supply to 114. Big drops inbound. Got to imagine that there's no way Ample can have the entire map secured. Well, the entire part of his map secured, which is really just a small fraction of the map overall.
He's trying to send some more tanks to bottom right. If somehow he could get bottom right fully mining, I would still give him a chance in this game, but Sharp is recognizing how big his advantage is, and he's just starting to push. So, like, well, this is, like, pretty efficient from Ample here. Like, he's blowing up a lot with his siege line of those tanks at the bottom right natural.
He keeps doing it.
It is kind of crazy. Like, Sharp is being very messy. He is kind of a messy Terran versus Terran player anyways. You know, some people, like, really thrive on very clean breaks and clean siege lines and efficiency from that, whereas Sharp kind of gets ahead and then punishes you, and he does it in a sloppy manner that we're seeing here. So that's allowing Ample to kind of hold on. But how much longer? 191 to 114 is not, that's not good numbers at all.
No, it's looking grim. I mean, it is crazy. The Ample just kind of keeps recovering from attack after attack after attack. I do feel like it shouldn't be too hard for Sharp to sledgehammer the position with just numbers. Like, drop and send your whole army in to just a spot. I wouldn't even mind. I guess we're not going to get it because this is recording, but if we could do a mineral check here at the center right, I'm like, is there even stuff there anymore?
No,
like,
I don't think so. I think he's basically out except for bottom right.
Yeah, okay, so that is mined out. So yeah, this is it. Just take out this position and you win the game.
Well, he's dropping a lot in there. Some counter drop play here from Ample, trying to use that same kind of theory to his advantage. He just doesn't have that much in it, but should be able to hold on for a little bit longer here. Again, if he had one more mining base, this game would be so close right now. Just Sharp.
Well, it shows you how scary he is.
Yeah, yeah. I think.
I mean, he's.
Go
ahead.
I think Ample in another group, Tasteless, could have maybe gotten out of here. This is a tough group. Like, this is a legit group.
It was an amazing group here for day one. I mean, all the games were epic and close. But, you know, Ample, this game, just not ever going to be able to have quite enough. Again, you know, these bases will eventually mine out. Gosh, I guess they're not going to mine out for a long time. You can see how mineral rich they are. Huge blue patches there. So here we go. What is this, Act 5 here of Sharp trying to break the spot?
At least Act 5.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit
and
absurd.
Ample knows to drop the drop.
Well, he's getting ready for it. So if Sharp doesn't get in there before he gets his dropships down there. But part of TVT in a game like this is scanning your opponent's dropships, like finding where they're at and deciding, like, do I want to go there? Do I want to try to go somewhere else? So Ample loads up. Sharp's dropships, by the way, are very low health. So if we have a decent Goliath count, you could see that getting wrecked if he tries to counter drop on top of it. You do have to be careful about that.
Doesn't want to drop on any of these mines. He is going to try to do an infrastructure push here. Probably not a bad idea. It is crazy to see this push happening. It's 96 supply for Ample, 197. I wonder if there's just a huge amount of supply here in SCVs for Sharp as well. And maybe that's why this looks more close than it is.
It could be. It could be. That's actually a good point. Like, sometimes Terran players, I've seen 100 SCVs, man. It happens. Like, you're just so busy making SCVs, and like, you don't actually need that many army units to defend. So he might actually just have like 90 SCVs here or something. But Ample is down 100 supply, so no matter what he has for his counts, it's not going to work out. I think this is it. I think this is the last drop.
This has to be it, right?
Yes. No more mining for Ample.
Yeah. He is locked out of an income, and that is going to be GG, I think.
For sure. For sure. Sharp just has so much in the bottom left. A great push from Ample. A great group from Ample. GG. Sharp with the fist bump. Very happy to have gotten out of this extremely tough group.
What a hell of a match, man. I wouldn't mind seeing these guys go at it a couple more times. I mean, it's interesting that Sharp gets ahead, basically stays ahead, but Ample fights back so hard. It looks like, you know, Sharp is really having to put in the work, really having to, like, you know, do everything in his power to not lose that game. But in the end, you know, Sharp maintains that advantage and he wins.
Yeah, very well done by Sharp. And I got to say, I do like the results from this group. I did want to see more of Larva in the tournament. And, of course, Sharp getting through is, like, incredibly important. You know, I think he's maintained top 3 Terran status, I think, since the beginning of ASL. Since the very beginning, this guy has been one of the very best Terrans in the world, and he continues to do that.
He's got a great way of approaching the game. Really locks in when he gets that positional advantage and does a late expand and basically tries to stay toe-to-toe with the army. Isn't somebody who's going to try to rush out of base when he gets a lead, because that's exactly how somebody like Ample is going to punish you. I guess, you know, there were so many moments to pick from this game. I guess, you know, we could have been looking at highlights the whole time. We could have just rewatched the entire replay again, because it was nothing but fighting happening. But I guess this was the moment they thought that maybe Ample had a shot. You can see that Sharp kind of came down here, and this is like where it looked a little bit worrisome, because tanks, when they're this upgraded, are not good. Tanks are not going to die to Goliath Vulture when they're that upgraded, is what I'm trying to say. I can't talk today, sorry.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact significance of this moment. I guess, yeah, he did get the Vultures in, which killed a ton of SCVs. Maybe they're going to show us just how low that SV count got or something, but... the game had so many important parts.
You don't know the SCV count when you're playing, right? It's not like a StarCraft 2 game. When we're speccing, we can tell you exactly where they're at. So, anyways, guys, we're going to go to an interview. Let's see how our winner's feeling.
ASL Season20
And that does it for the opening day of the round of 24 here at ASL Season 20, as we have our second player moving through to the round of 16. It's Sharp. Congratulations. Thank you, thank you. Today truly was filled with twists and turns right up until the end, and from that decider match, you emerge victorious to advance to the round of 16. How are you feeling? Feeling good? It's a shame about the winners match, but it still feels really good. So the moment you had to prepare for the decider match, how did you steel yourself? I should have just focused on what I wanted to play, but my mentality still seems weak. I was shaken, but I kept reminding myself that if I play my game, I can win, and it worked well. As long as I play my own game, I can surely win, says Sharp after he steeled himself and claimed victory in the decider match. Let's focus on that first game where your signature harassment style led to you scoring a win. What do you think the strong points of this playstyle are? This is sort of my signature trademark. I lure my opponents in by pretending that I'm weak. Many people get fooled like that. It's intuitive, predictable, but people get caught. Right. And so you managed to take the first game, but in the second one, your opponent opted for island expansions, and you ended up losing. But, once again, it was a TVT in the decider. As befitting Sharp, the King of Mines, you utilized Vulture Mines very well. However, your opponent kept pressing on the front line, and you nearly found yourself in hot water. When did you feel you had won that game? I was clearly ahead, and then it was like, like, up until the very end, up until the moment I killed his 5 o'clock, it was not a game that I could have got careless in. It was right at the very end that I realized, okay, I can't lose anymore. A dizzying decider match indeed, so much so we couldn't be sure who would win right up until the end. I think the key was the fact that he kept resaturating 7 o'clock. Were you not desperate? I was ahead, but somehow he came in with a very strong attack. I got rattled. I took more damage than I should have. But it's my resource-oriented mindset. It's the resources, the eco, that won me that game. A calm play that resulted in victory. Sharp, your win rate in TVT is quite high. Are you more confident in TVT more than in your other matchups? I've always felt confident playing mech. For some reason, it's TVT that uniquely goes well. I have some regrets about today. Still, there's clearly things that need fixing. Nevertheless, it's TVT that got you so far today. What would you like to show in the round of 16? Seeing how I advanced, I will need to prepare more diligently first of all. And above all, I need to get a grip on my psyche. And do you have anything to say to the fans who showed up in person and those who are cheering for you online as well? Firstly, so the members of our team NZU are going through training right now. They turn on their streams to cheer for me too. I'm sad that I can't be there for the training, but thankfully I managed to advance. And our boss, Sangdi, he always sends me messages, texts me daily. Professor Sharp, work hard, he tells me. I'm glad I advanced today. Thanks to my fans for their support. And I would also like to thank my colleagues for helping me practice. BTS, YSC, Barracks, Snow, and Rush. Thanks, guys. And, oh, can I add one more thing? Yes. And my wife, you are always by my side. Thanks to you, I was able to play the games comfortably. I am sorry, but until we have a kid, I will keep playing and I will play well. All the warm support you got today proved to be a source of strength, and there you have Sharp, who's moving on to the round of 16. We'll cheer for you in the round of 16, and that does it for our interview.
All right, guys. What a hell of a day. Crazy games here. Larva and Sharp will survive. Stork and Ample are out.
I'm sad to see Stork and Ample leave. Like, I really just like this group in general. I'd love to see more games of all of them. But that's how the cookie crumbles. I think Sharp and Larva are great adds to that round of 16. Can't wait to see them there. Great games today. If this is indicative of what Season 20 is going to be, It's going to be another amazing season.
Join us tomorrow, JYJ, TY, Bisu, and Speed.
Great group. I think it's tough for Bisu. That's 3 very different styled Terrans. How do you prepare for that? It's difficult. And as far as the Terrans go, I don't know, man. Like, I'm actually feeling Speed for this group pretty well.
I think that Speed has a very good shot. I think JYJ is really good. TY, I don't know how he's going to look, but
Yeah.
he's really good at planning. He's very smart, and it kind of doesn't matter what Terrans are doing. Like, he'll come in here with his own ideas. Bisu's solid, for sure. He could get out. It's just going to be tough. I mean, like you were saying, Artosis, like, Bisu's PvT was never quite like his PvZ, right?
Yeah.
Like, PvZ, he could pretty much take anybody on, but let's see what he's got to offer. Bisu also has still a little bit more of an older style in how he approaches the matchup.
A little bit. He has modernized a little bit too. So we'll see what type of shape he's in. Like, I hope Bisu gets out of that group for sure, but it is a tough one. Just the fact that the Terrans all play so differently from each other is like, oh man, you really have it's almost like you're preparing for more than just Terran. You know, it's like, oh, we have Dropship Man and we have Vulture Man and we have like Timing Attack Man, and it's like, oh man, that's like a lot to keep in your mind.
Artosis, any closing thoughts before we end the show?
I'm so happy that ASL Season 20 is back, guys. Spread
Yeah.
the word. It's going to be a great season.
Guys, we're so happy to be back. We love you. Please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ASL English. We will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.